Hello and welcome to the Borregos Esports Invitational, a college tournament within the Meta Game Conference, which is an event that seeks to incorporate the esports ecosystem as a whole, from players to industry partners.
This initiative is organized by the APRU, the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, which is comprised of the leading universities of 18 economies, known worldwide by their academic and research excellence. In this edition of the Borregos Esports Invitational, we will see the Nanyang Technological University, the Shanghai Jiao Tong University, UC Davis, and Tecnológico de Monterrey playing Clash Royale matches.
With that being said, we are going to start off with the first match of the day. It's going to be Borregos actually against the Shanghai Jiao Tong University.
Yeah.
Starting out.
Yeah, we will have that match first. Is Tecnológico de Monterrey Campus Guadalajara against one of the three teams from the Shanghai Jiao Tong University. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. We're actually in a tournament bracket. We will have the quarterfinals being played today, and tomorrow we will have both the semifinals and the finale. So let's see how they end up facing each other, how they end up playing against each other, and we will have, as you said, this first quarterfinal match. So we'll see how they end up facing each other.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the format that we're going to be seeing today. We're going to be playing a series of best of three series. In this case, it's going to be series between series. And first off, we're going to start on a best of three on 2v2 matches. That is going to be the first part of the series. The second one is going to be King of the Hill, so whichever one wins King of the Hill is going to be the winner of that one. And finally, if it is needed for the on-draw, we're going to go for 1v1 matches on a best-of-3 format.
Yep, you said it. It's a best-of-3, so we'll have a lot of maybe mix and matches between these players. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. We will have that King of the Hill, that you say, that format, that global esports Clash Royale format. So it'll be really interesting to see how they end up facing each other. If you're not really familiar with this format, it is basically both teams end up choosing three players each, and they have to face in one-on-ones. Each player that ends up losing will be like disqualified, and the first team that beats all the other three players, that's who's gonna take the point. So we'll see how they end up doing today, because it's gonna be an amazing match. We'll have 4 matches, like we said. These are the quarterfinals, so we'll have 4 matches, all these universities facing against each other. And now let's see who ends up going against the semifinal tomorrow night, because it'll be, I think, really tough for these universities.
And this is really good because remember, we are still playing on the last patch. We're not on the Lockmas patch yet, so this is going to be really interesting because players have already got used to the actual meta of the game, and they're probably going to be still using these kind of cards that have been really prominent within this meta. It's probably going to come up with the Graveyard, it's probably going to come up with the Barbarian Hut. The Barbar is also being a really popular card within this meta, so that's probably a few of the cards that we're going to be seeing within these matches.
Yeah, also a lot of bridge spam, a lot of log bait probably, so we'll see how they're facing each other. We'll maybe see some beatdown decks with maybe a balloon, lava balloon. Let's see how they end up, but we're gonna go right into the first match on this 2v2 series, the Campus Guadalajara against the SJTU Esports, the team from the Shanghai Jiao Tong University, one of the 3 teams, and we will start strong with that great tornado being comboed with the death damage from the giant skeleton.
Ooh, a Royal Pain is going to be coming in on part of the Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Let's see how that performs. A Hunter is coming in to stop that Goblin Barrel from doing any kind of damage on that right side lane. And now it comes to the job of the Borregos to be the ones to stop the Royal Pain, to be the ones to stop this Royal Giant. And let's see how they will gonna do it, because we have a Prince right here. And Inferno Tower is gonna be a really good answer, but there is a Fisherman. Let's see if he can connect. It does not. Nice defense.
Yeah, and it doesn't even connect at the end. And now we'll see the Barbarian Hut, I think is that what... no, I totally mismatched. It's going to be the Mega Knight right now. That's the Goblin Hut. Let's see how it ends up facing each other. And that little dart that made a cheap damage, but it's going to be a lot Musketeer to counter the Baby Dragon in this precise moment. But we'll probably just face that, yeah, that cage.
Yeah, we're going to see if there is any kind of win condition on part of the second player from Shanghai Jiaotong University. Let's see. We already have the Giant Skeleton. We already have the Royal Giant. And these are two win conditions that are going to try to go into the Princess Towers and start making really huge damage.
Ooh.
We have now double Goblin Barrel coming in on the right side. Nice Tornado to stop receiving any kind of damage. But 400 damage already done to that right side tower.
Yeah, it's going to be do a lot of damage. That Tornado, again, offensive by the Shanghai University. Now let's see how they end up facing each other. The Prince is going to come out, and it's going to be a lot of a bit of damage. Now the Log, obviously, to end up facing. Ooh, that Fireball didn't quite connect against the Prince, so that may be a little bit of a problem right now. But the Giant Skeleton will end up just stopping him for a moment.
Yeah, but slowly but steady, the damage is coming in on that right side tower. Goblin after Goblin Barrel, it's coming in. 1148 HP on that right side tower. And if this match keeps going the way it is going right now, it's going to be really hard for Shanghai to actually stop that damage coming in, because they only have pretty much the sap. And, well, they have a lot, but they haven't been able to use it or rotate it efficiently to be able to stop that.
Yeah, it's actually been really hard. Now we have the Goblin Barrel again, the Tornado that has been countering once again. So we'll see how it ends up doing. And the Goblin Brawler that hasn't done a lot of damage, just like maybe stopping a little bit. And now we see that Prince is doing a lot of damage against the turret. It's going to take down to 600 health right now. The mini P.E.K.K.A. just coming out. To do a little bit of damage. Obviously, the Baby Dragon is going to stop him. The Fisherman doing the same against that Snow Yeti. Now, let's see what's ended up happening in this minute and a half that it's remaining.
Ooh, Rocket is coming in, and that's going to deal a lot of damage. And right now, they're
that's
just in a
basically
rotation for that Rocket. There comes the Goblin Barrel, 72.
That may be enough.
That's pretty much enough. Ooh, nice Fireball, but that is not going to be enough. 28 HP. Here comes the Goblins. That is more than enough to take that win that goes directly to Campus Guadalajara.
And it was actually really close at the end, because we had the double Royal Pain on the right side turret from the Shanghai University. So it didn't end up working. It was actually a really hard deck for them to go to attack at the end. They didn't really they couldn't reach the turret at the end because of the Inferno Tower. It was actually a really good card to counter it. Now
they
we'll
also
see.
had the mini P.E.K.K.A. They had a lot of resources. They had the Prince that also deals a lot of damage with the charge. They had a lot of resources to be able to defend against both the Royal Pain and the Giant Skeleton, to be able to bring them away from the Princess Tower. That was a really clean match for Campus Guadalajara.
Yeah, now we'll see how they end up preparing for this second match, because we know it's a best of 3 and we have a global ban. So the university that now lost, the Shanghai University, will end up banning one of the cards. It's a global ban, so neither them nor the enemy will be able to use them. So we'll see what will be the adaptation going into this second match, because that Inferno Tower may be a problem, but I don't know if they really want to go like same deck with the Goblin.
Also was a problem, to be honest. Here they didn't have any cards to be able to counter that. They could have bring more spells probably, and that could have helped them a little more. Maybe a double Log could be good enough. We know Log Bait has been that a strategy has been kept in pretty much every meta, and now we're gonna go into the second match and see how this goes.
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna see those Killing Spirits. Yeah, Goblin Barrel ends up being the ban, so we will not see this precise spell in this moment. Well, yeah, this unit. So we'll have the Musketeer spawning, the Poison obviously doing the chip damage against that Goblin Brawler cage, and we'll end up losing. Oh, that that minion, that Mega Minion, ended up being a little distracted. Nothing less. The Hunter will do just enough for them to stop.
Yeah, nothing to worry about so far. The P.E.K.K.A. is coming in on the right side. Let's see if she is able to perform any kind of damage. Here comes the Graveyard. Also, the Bomber Tower is going to try to stop the P.E.K.K.A. And also the Fisherman is there to gain some time, but the Freeze is making damage. The Graveyard is gaining so much value. 1246 on the right side tower in just 1 push.
And the P.E.K.K.A. almost hit the King's turret. That would have been really bad for
Oh,
Shanghai University.
giant
But
skeleton.
it didn't. Ooh, that Fisherman
Close.
just on point to end up defending that right side turret. Obviously, the dead damage will do just enough to destroy it. And now we'll see the Hunter doing a little bit of damage on the left turret. No, it ends up being countered by the Baby Dragon. And now the University of Shanghai University has the advantage, a lot of health advantage. So we'll see how they end up either just defending or what will be the push now.
Yeah, also remember we're currently seeing Campus Guadalajara on top of your screens. Shanghai is right now on the bottom side, so Shanghai is the one that is actually being pushed right now on this right side tower. Again, suffering this pressure from the Campus Guadalajara team,
Yep.
and they don't seem to have a really good answer right now. We're going to go into the last minute of regular time.
Oh, Mega Knight.
The double X elixir is right now on the map.
Yeah, the double elixir will be really important right now. We'll have the poison by the Shanghai University, the graveyard again by the Campus Guadalajara. We'll see how they end up facing each other. They really don't have an important counter for that graveyard.
Nope.
They ended up using the Bomber Tower instead of defending for something more important, like maybe the Giant Skeleton, but they will end up using it right now. The P.E.K.K.A. will end up appearing on the map, accompanied by the Baby Dragon and the Fisherman. This may be the last push by the Campus Guadalajara. Ends up actually getting close by the Fisherman, and that may be strong. Oh my god, that lovely. That ended up being lost enough, but the P.E.K.K.A. ends up winning. 10 seconds left, and the University of Shanghai won't do anything more. In this precise moment, the first point of this 2v2 will go to the Campus Guadalajara. Well, the first point of this best of three, better said. They ended up winning the 2v2. Now, let's see how they will, well, if the Shanghai University ends up preparing for the King of the Hill, that is the next phase.
So yeah, that's the next step. Shanghai needs to think right now what it is going to do for the King of the Hill. Remember, they have to choose 3 of the players to represent them, and these 3 players will be facing off against the 3 players of Campus Guadalajara. So whoever keeps standing at the end of these 3 matches is the one that's going to be winning. So the last man pretty much standing is the one who wins, whichever it is from Campus Guadalajara or from Shanghai. So the 2v2, the first 2 matches were really on the side of Campus Guadalajara. They knew really how to pull out their strategies. They knew how to make them happen, how to make those winning conditions to be able to perform in the Royal Arena. And at the end, it showed.
Yeah, it ended up showing, actually, Shanghai Yaotong University didn't really have an answer for it. It was really hard for them to counter the Graveyard in the second match, and to counter the, what was it, Giant Skeleton in the first match, I think? Kind of, well, mixed with the side changes. But I think it was Giant Skeleton. Either ways, they didn't really have a good defense against it. Ah, no, it was actually the Goblin Barrow. Yeah, you're right.
Goblin Barrow,
that ended up being banned on the second.
Balloon also, if I'm not wrong, and that didn't connect. They didn't have.
Yeah, that was on Shanghai side.
A really good winning condition, or a winning condition that was gonna be able to beat what Guadalajara was presenting. They have the dog beta the first match, which was really useful, was really effective. I told you, slowly but steadily they were getting that damage on that right side tower, and at the end they were able to find it. And
with the rocket, with the
rocket. They had a lot of resources to be able to finish off that first tower, and they did at the first match. And on the second one, they had everything to support that graveyard, and there was no answer really from Shanghai.
It was actually like, it ended basically in that first push that was on the right side turret. That the Campus Guadalajara, it was amazing, that freeze. I think it was the synergy between these 2 players. When you're playing a 2v2 match, it isn't really like when you play a 1v1, normal 1v1 on your competitive matches. It isn't really the same, because you have to have not only the communication but and the deck, obviously, with your partner, but you really have to time it really well. You have to know when he will play which cards and how to support him, and that's what Campus Guadalajara ended up doing. They ended up really like supporting each other. Like if one deck had some disadvantages, the other one covered them. So that was really good for Campus Guadalajara. Now we'll see in King of the Hill, because these are 1v1s. So this may be the time where Shanghai University, Yaotong University ends up like coming back
coming back, shining a little bit more. That this is something that could happen. We know some tournaments are not that. It's not that common to have this kind of formats where you go on 2v2s on a best of three and then you go on a King of the Hill. Besides being the universal format being used for professional competitive in Clash Royale, so it can be hard for the teams to get used to this kind of communication, to knowing when and where to put these cards. And now that we're gonna go to the King of the Hill, it's much more of an individual performance for these players, and we'll see if they can come above their opponents.
But it is kind of a relay race, you know?
Yep.
Like, when you're King of the Hill, you really have to have, like, a strategy on your mind
Yep.
with which player is going to go first, which is going to go last, like
Yep.
your last chance, you could say, who's going to be the last player. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. We actually didn't see one of the players from the Campus Guadalajara.
Yep.
Well, they have, I think, 5 players. We only saw 2, so
Yep.
we are still missing 3 of them. So we'll see who ends up being chosen to play on the King of the Hill. They may be their best 1v1 players. They may be, I don't know, they really must have a strategy on their mind.
Yep.
Also by Shanghai University, because they're literally on their last possible match, on their last possible round. So I don't know.
Yeah, remember this is a series on a best of 3, so if Shanghai loses this King of the Hill, they're gonna be losing the whole match,
Yeah.
and Borregos is gonna be the one going into the semifinals. So this is the last chance, pretty much, for Shanghai to be able to come back into this match to get us into a draw and go for that last match on a 1v1 best of 3. And that could be the point of change for these teams to be able to, or for Shanghai to come back into this match.
Yeah, it may actually be. Shanghai really has to like go all in to. Yeah, they really have to go all in, to go all out on this match. They have to give the best. And I think it may go really like down to the wire. It may go to the last one-on-one. It may be possible, like Shanghai Jiaotong University really like gave it a bit of a rough battle, especially in the first match. That it ended up on the extra time on the last minute, I think it was, that ended up winning Campus Guadalajara. So now we'll see how they face in this King of the Hill. It's a format. It's maybe weird. It's maybe a little bit complicated for some of the teams, especially if they haven't really participated in more competitive tournaments, because they may not be used at all to this tournament format. So we'll see how they end up doing.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really important factor because you're now depending not just on your individual play, but also on your team's plays. You're depending on another player to win their match, for them to be eliminating someone in the King of the Hill, or for you to be performing to avoid maybe the player that feels least comfortable with the 1v1s maybe. And pretty much it becomes a team play instead of an individual play, also because of the 2v2 matches. And now we're going to be seeing the first match of the King of the Hill. Remember, right now, the Borregos Guadalajara are ahead right now with 1 against 0 points that Shanghai has right now.
Yeah, it's actually, they have the advantage. They may close everything up on this King of the Hill. Let's see how it ends up doing. And I think we're real close to going to the first match. We actually just started. We have Danny against the player of the SSS JTU from the Shanghai Jiaotong University. Now let's see what ended up doing. It actually, we see that Crown and Campus Guadalajara, that they have the first point on the best of 3. So we'll see how they end up doing. Oh, we have Hawk Rider. Interesting.
Hawk Rider is the one that is going to be coming in. It has been stopped clearly,
Goblin
but
Barrel
now
again.
Goblin Barrel nicely. The army is going to stop that right side mini P.E.K.K.A. that was coming in.
Excellent
Also, the Goblin Barrel, and now there comes the Electro Wizard. Goblin Gang is going to come on to the right side, but there is a Princess, nothing to worry about. And these are two decks that are really similar, but one is coming up with the Hawk, the other one is probably going to be coming with the Rocket and the
Mini P.E.K.K.A.
Mini P.E.K.K.A. That's right.
Yeah, see, we have the Goblin Darts that end up doing a little bit chip damage on that right side turret. And the Hog Rider reconnect in 2 occasions on that left side turret. Also, the Goblin Gang, 600 health left on that left side turret for Danny. That actually, he was one of the representatives of Campus Guadalajara in the last game. Also was the player from SSSGATU. So we'll see how they end up. They're actually like lining up really good in this 1v1, and the SSSJTU Esports has the advantage in this precise moment. Goblin Gang gonna be used by Danny, and we'll end up doing a little bit of chip damage on that right side turret. Just near a little bit lower than 1,700.
Yeah, but keep in mind, he has the rocket. He has a lot of damage that it could be coming in that right side tower and from one moment to another. That could be the winning aspect of that match, and we're gonna be seeing that coming into this match right now. Let's gonna see who of these two players come on top, because both of them have the Goblin Barrel as the winning condition. Right now we have 503 on the left side.
Oh, that Hog Rider.
Danny, and Hog Rider is going to be stopped by the Inferno Tower just on point.
Just on point, just on time. It ends up doing not anything of damage, but that Skeleton Army gonna be used on the right side lane just to stop a little bit. That Goblin Barrel gonna be used again. Ooh, that was a nice log, a nice time with log to stop anything that could do by that Goblin Barrel. Same by the SSJTU. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. Last 10 seconds left.
10 seconds left of the regular time. 4:31 on the left side turret of Danny, and 8:03 on the side of the player of Campus Guadalajara. We're going to see what they are able to do. Who is going to take this first match of the King of the Hill? Remember, whoever loses this is going to be out, and the other one is going to have to keep going against the representatives of their opponent. 7:04. Nice Goblin Barrel on the left, but the gang is going to stop them on point right on that left side lane. And nothing for anyone of Jeep.
That was really well timed by the SSSJTU representative, because it actually ended up dodging that log, and that was really important for them. At the end, the Goblin Gang did anything but more, and now the Goblin Barrel again gonna be used. The Hog Rider that will connect this first time, gonna connect the second one, and that's gonna be the overtime for the Shanghai Yaotong University. These SSSJTU representatives that end up winning the first match of this King of the Hill. Now their representative will stay, and the second player of the Campus Guadalajara will end up playing, and now we'll see. We were talking about this. It's actually the first team that ends up taking down 3 of the players of the other team.
Yep.
That's the one who's gonna take the points home. So we'll see how they end up. SSSJTU ends up doing a bit of damage. They end up doing that first win in their favor. So we'll see how they end up going further in the competition.
Yeah, and the Hawk Rider was such a crucial card for them to get this first point in this moment, because there was really no huge answer for Danny for that card, because yeah, he had the mini P.E.K.K.A, yeah, he had the Inferno Tower, but that is a lot of elixir to be investing in just one card. Maybe you have to go for the Inferno Tower, and maybe that could be stopped by the Electro Wizard that was in the deck of Shanghai in these moments. So as the match was going on, the match became harder and harder for Danny, because he had really no cheap answer for that Hog Rider.
And also, he didn't have a lot of splash damage against like the Skeleton Army, the Goblin Gang, the Goblin Barrel, other than the log actually. So it was really hard for him to defend against that specific deck that the player of the SSSJTU Esports team brought.
If you think about it, the log-based deck tends to be a really cheap deck, but he had the mini P.E.K.K.A, he had the rocket, he had the Inferno Tower. That was not cheap at all. It was a lot of elixir that could come in the rotation, and in the wrong time you will have 3 cards that are over 4 elixir, and this could be really hard for you to defend against a Hog Rider, for example, a Goblin Barrel, a Princess. And I believe that this decision on the deck was probably the reason why Danny lost as time was going by.
Specifically because it was also like kind of a mirror deck. It wasn't like the exact same thing, but they were going for like the same win condition. Yep. Obviously, the Hog Rider ends up just doing damage to turrets and, well, structures, but the P.E.K.K.A, the mini P.E.K.K.A, ends up doing damage to whatever it's in front of him.
Yep.
So that's what actually, like, maybe got Danny the lose, because it was really hard for him to counter. That was
a
a really
good
good,
pick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because Danny didn't have a spell like to counter it.
Yep.
He didn't have neither arrows nor shock. He only had
The log.
log, but if he used log on the skeleton army, he didn't have it for the goblin gang, for the goblin barrel.
If you use the log, then you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
nothing to add for the defense on the goblin barrel. You have nothing to defend the Hog Rider, nothing to gain time to be able to stop that Hog Rider other than the Inferno Tower. So when you use that log, you pretty much open up the space for Shanghai to be able to take these matches, to take these advantages, and slowly take the match, of course.
Yeah, they basically took the match home.
Yep.
They took the first point of the King of the Hill. They are starting strong. They're starting really well paced. Now we'll see how they end up facing in the other matches. Now we will go to the second match of this King of the Hill. Let's remember the first player of the Shanghai Yaotong University stays, and the second player from the Tecnológico de Monterrey Campus Guadalajara is the one that we'll be facing now. That is Oscar San. We'll see him on the top side, and the SSSJTU on the bottom side. The baby dragon that's going to be used to counter those little skeletons. Actually, that's an interesting cycle deck by Oscar, because he really has really cheap. You think it's crossbow?
It's maybe crossbow because he has the Tesla Tower. He has
And really
the archers.
cheap.
We have
Yeah.
the knight. It's probably gonna be crossbow. It's gonna be interesting how that performs against
Valkyrie.
SSSGTU.
Graveyard.
It's gonna
Okay.
Graveyard. It's gonna be interesting because there is not really a good answer for that.
Again,
Maybe the archers
freeze.
are gonna be coming in, but that is gonna add up a little bit of damage into that right side tower. 2170 for the tower of Oscar San in this moment, but nothing to worry about yet.
Yeah, nothing left. It's actually interesting, but the player, Boulder by SSSJTU. Let's see what it can do. We know, like, it evades. It actually passes through many units, so he may be able to do a lot of damage. Passing, yeah, it's an Expo. Now we'll see how it ends up being countered by the Shanghai Yaitong University, because it's actually really hard for them to counter this Expo, especially if they don't have a lot of units.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of
There's a chip
units
damage.
on the ground, and here is the lockdown. He's making a lot of damage. Expo is gonna be increasing the damage 15, 14, 70 on the right side tower, and just
That's a
in
lot of damage.
one Expo. Now the baby dragon is gonna die to that Tesla tower. Nothing else to do right there, and it's gonna be really hard for Shanghai right now to decide where to go. It's gonna probably try to push different lanes and try to pressure both lanes at the same time, because when the double Expo comes into the arena, it's going to be really, really hard for Shanghai to defend.
And it's also actually really interesting that Oscar decided for a defensive Expo instead of an offensive Expo, maybe to finish the job on the right side turret. Now we'll see the Tesla Tower also being defended. That Valkyrie will end up dying in just that fireball, maybe just enough. And now the Infernal Dragon and the Baby Dragon doing a lot of damage. Now we'll have the double Expo on the field, and that bowler that is going to stop him on his tracks without any further problem, without any...
Expo on the right.
That Valkyrie was not well timed, and will end up doing a lot of damage on that right side turret.
600
left on that turret.
Tesla Tower is going to be able to defend that. Freeze did not connect to the Tesla Tower because it was underground, so nothing to do here. Defensing Expo is going to come in on part of Oscar San, but again, slowly but steady, he is generating this damage on the right side tower. 529 on this one, and it's going to become harder and harder for Shanghai to defend. Graveyard is going to come in on the right side. It's probably going to be accompanied by the Freeze, a tornado to try to avoid the defense on part of Oscar, but that is probably not going to be enough. Offensive Expo, and this is probably going to be the one that is going to be able to finish off that final Princess HP left on the right side tower.
It was actually just enough that final Expo to end up the deal, to just seal the deal
One-on-one
for Oscar San. Now we have the one-on-one. We will have the next match. Third match will be the second player from the Campus Guadalajara against the second player from the Shanghai Yaotong University. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. We are, you could say, one-on-one on this King of the Hill. We insist it's actually the first player who the first team who takes on the three players of the other team. So we'll see who ends up doing that first. That's how they will win this point. And we will remind you that this is just one phase.
Yeah.
We have three phases, best of three. So the first one was the 2v2 that ends up going the way of the Campus Guadalajara. They have that first point of the set, and now this second King of the Hill that will decide the second point. And in the instance that we have a draw, we will have that third match that is actually, I think, a 1v1, just basically a 1v1, a best of three, 1v1. Yeah, so we'll see basically their best player and that will end up facing each other and, well, deciding that final point.
Yeah, let's see if we get into that point, we get that far into the series, because right now we are just in a draw right now between these two teams in the King of the Hill. One for each of these teams has been defeated already, and only two representatives are left for each of these teams. Oscar is still in here, and Andy is gonna be coming in for Shanghai. The sides have turned around again. Shanghai is going to be on the top, and Borregos is going to be on the bottom side of the screen. Oscar representing Borregos, and of course Andy representing Shanghai.
Well, we may have a bit down deck right now. It's basically that.
Yeah.
Both players are just burning down laser, just letting it drip outside. We'll have that Barbaro. Ooh, final flying machine.
Flying Machine is going to be coming in on the right side. It's going to probably connect. No, here comes the Hunter, obviously, to stop it. It's not a convenient decision for Oscar to take that damage. And the Zappies are going to be coming in into the field. That is interesting. Probably we're going to be a divided push on part of Andy.
Yep.
Here comes the Royal Hawks, and we're probably going to see the Royal Cards too.
Yeah, that will be just enough. Yeah, the Royal Recruits. And that Royal Hawks did a lot of cheap damage on that right side turret. Oh, we have a cannon. A mortar in this precise moment. Let's see if it will do a little bit of damage.
It is connecting actually on the right side tower.
It's actually with the second
one.
100.
The third one is going to
1200 health left on that right side turret. And we'll end up taking with just 900 health left. Complicated for Andy right now, but Oscar San actually taking a bit of damage himself.
Yeah, he already took half of damage of the Princess Towers on both sides, and now with the mortar he was able to confirm a lot of damage, 99.4 on that right side tower. Zappies are going to be coming in again, but when we go into the double X elixir, it's going to become harder for Oscar to be able to defend this divided push, because Royal Recruits, the Royal Hawks are going to be pushing in, and that is going to be really hard to defend on both sides.
And actually, that Barbarian Hut will just do a little bit of damage. That cannon that will not connect in this precise moment ends up just being taken down and will just stay on the ground right now. It's actually a really hard thing for the SSJTU University right now, on the top side. Now let's see how they end up facing each other. Now we'll see the Royal Hawks doing a little bit of damage. We know that divided push right now.
Yep.
So let's see what happens. The Zappies doing a lot of damage in this precise moment.
Yeah, Barbarian Hut is going to be coming in again to stop the damage from the mortar. Mortar is already half health, so that is probably not going to have or achieve any kind of values at least soon enough. And now the Venom is going to try to stop that specific building to stay alive. But now Recruits are going to be coming in into the arena again, and they're going to probably stop that cart that is going to be doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Hawk. Let's see how much damage they can actually do. Mortar is going to be stopping them on their feet, and now there is nothing decided yet, because both players have been able to perform or to play their cards as well as they can do.
And to counter the other ones.
Card connecting.
Yeah,
One,
the cannon
two,
is actually
the third,
connecting. That's
the fourth.
basically just enough. The cannon didn't really have a... It was actually really weird. I think he had a elixir on his hand, and he did have a elixir and ends up taking the loose. Oscar San from Borregos, from Tecnológico de Monterrey, Campus Guadalajara, ends up taking that second match. Now we'll have...
weird way.
Yeah,
I'm not sure Andy may have had a disconnection right there, because he didn't pull out any cards to respond to that card.
I don't know if he just gave up, maybe.
I'm not sure. I believe that could have gone to any of those sides, and
we really had like a minute left on the clock. It was a lot of time left, and with the triple elixir, the Royal Hawks, Royal Recruits would have done a lot more of damage. So we'll see how it ends up going. Now they have Borregos Guadalajara with his second player,
Yep.
so their second life, you could say, and the Shanghai Yaotong University going for their last player, their last chance in this King of the Hill. If he loses, the point will go for Campus Guadalajara, and that will be more than enough for them to go right into the semifinals.
Remember, this is match point right now, match point for the series both and for the King of the Hill.
Yeah.
If Borregos Guadalajara is able to perform and get another win, if Oscar San is able to beat one more player from Shanghai, they are going to be going directly into the semifinals, and they will be our first top 8 teams, top four actually teams in this tournament, and we'll see if they're able to do this, because Shanghai needs to do it now, needs to win right now, because this is the last opportunity for them to be and to stay alive in this series.
Yeah, and actually this player from the SSSJTU Esports will have to actually win 2 matches in a row. He will have to face 2 players from Campus Guadalajara if he wants to win this point. And he actually is like the last chance. We talked about this a little bit in the strategy that you have to come up with the King of the Hill. He may be the most, the best player in the...
Yeah, he could be the surprise. He could be the surprise player to be the one that is going to be beating the both players that are left in Campus Guadalajara. He could be the hero pretty much for Shanghai. And he actually needs to be, because if they lose this next match, they're going to be out. Yeah, that's right. And Campus Guadalajara is going to be the one that is going to be going into the semifinals. So with nothing else to add, we're going to go into the next match. Remember, this is match point for Campus Guadalajara.
Yeah, they have the advantage right now. Oscar San on the right, on the top side, and the representative of the SSSJTU Esports on the bottom side. Lil Bat's gonna do a chip damage, and Musketeer actually on the left side, leaving the turret with just barely over 1800 health left. Now we have a balloon that will end up being stopped by the mortar. Again, a mortar deck used by the Shanghai Yaotong University.
Shue is going to be the one that is going to try to defend the balloon, but is not going to be able to do so. 964 life on the left tower. Now 692 on this same tower after the death damage. That was a really good push from Oscar San, a really good change in the strategy too, because we haven't seen a balloon on part of Borregos Campus Guadalajara, and now they are going to be pressuring up with the balloon. They're going to be trying to pressure up in the air battle, and with the bandit they're gonna try to make a distraction or a little push on the ground to be able to distract Shue from the balloon.
That and the ice golem will be just enough for them to take on. I mean, the mortar is like you could say counter to the balloon. It ends up taking the aggro from the balloon, so that may be tough for Oscar San, but either way, if he just can combo it with the ice golem with a bandit, probably like he just did, it will be just enough. I mean, we're still...
And he just needs one attack from the balloon. Just one attack, one basic from the balloon is going to be enough to be able to take that left side tower, and it's all he needs. And even maybe 3 death damages, it's going to be enough to pull out the win on that left side tower.
He still has 1 card left that may be a strong spell.
Yep.
It may be like, I don't know, a rocket or maybe a fireball. So that may be why he's still leaving it for the last. The fireball from the Shanghai University will actually end up coming into the ground. And that balloon still is alive. He may do a little bit of death damage. Okay, I'll take it.
That's the first one.
Yeah, that's 372 health left on that left side turret. The skeleton barrel that will actually end up connecting on the left side, but will be stopped by the snowball.
Nice snowball on part of Oscar. Now Shue is able to do some damage on the left side tower. Mortar is going to be coming on.
Mega Knight
is coming up from Oscar San. A nice tank that is going to probably enable the push from the balloon.
That's just a balloon.
And now this is becoming even harder for Shue in this specific moment. Balloon is going to be coming in on the left side. Mega Knight is not able to connect onto that cannon card. Nice fireball, but is it going to be enough? I do not think so, my friend. It is not going to cannot connect, but the dead damage is there, and it's pretty much
100
double
health.
snowball, maybe?
Yeah, maybe double snowball or just another dead damage by the balloon.
Yep.
We'll see what the player does.
Balloon
It may
comes
be the dead damage from the balloon. He will just get closer and closer, and that will seal the deal for Campus Guadalajara.
That is it.
Death damage, that's just more than enough in this precise moment. And that will be the king of the hill for Tecnológico de Monterrey, Campus Guadalajara. Extraordinary performance from them. They actually just lost one match. The first match, no, the second
match
yeah,
of the King
from
of the Hill.
the King of the Hill. And now the Shanghai Yaotong University will lose their first representatives. Let's remember, this university has 3 teams on the quarterfinals. So they still have two lives left. They'll still have 2 other teams, two other sets of teams. So we'll see how they end up facing and how they will be doing. But Tecnológico de Monterrey already has on one team on the other side, like you said, on the semi-finals. Important, top 4.
Top 4 right now. Campus Guadalajara also advancing right now into the semifinals, as you just said. And also, Tecnológico de Monterrey also has some other teams that are participating
2 other teams,
here.
actually.
2 other teams, actually. And they already have one in the semifinals. Let's see if Shanghai is able to put any other team into those semifinals. We're going to be seeing that, how that performs in the next matches. Remember, we still have 3 other matches today to be done with the quarterfinals.
Yeah, we actually have other 3 matches that we'll be doing, I think, well, the other 2 representatives of the Tecnológico de Monterrey and the other 2 representatives of the Shanghai Yaotong University, and that 1 representative of the Nanyang Technological University and the UC Davis representatives. They will end up facing, I think, the one facing Shanghai and the other one is facing, I think, one of the universities from Tecnológico de Monterrey. So we'll see the next verse actually from these both universities. It's the Prepatec against Tecnológico de Monterrey Prepatec against the other representative.
Team number 2.
Actually, you just said it, my friends. So we'll see the second representatives of both these universities. And
this could be the revenge, actually. This could be the revenge for SGTU. They are facing off against Borregos once more, this time the Prepas team. And we'll see if they are able to beat this Borregos team. And if they do, they will have 1 and 1. 1 for Borregos in the semifinals and 1 for Shanghai in the semifinals too. And this could be the start of a small rivalry between these two teams.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because it's the Prepatec team, that it's basically the high school team from Tecnológico de Monterrey. So we'll see how these guys end up being played, how they play, because they may be really strong. We know that in high school you have a lot of free time. You may play a lot of Clash Royale. Yeah, you may. It's not. I mean, if you're like international baccalaureate, I think it's really hard. I mean, but let's see how they end up like facing today against the Shanghai University. That actually on this first match, it may have seemed that Borregos Guadalajara took it easy because it was a 2-0, but it actually was a hard-fought win for Campus Guadalajara.
Yeah, and it was pretty much won on the moment that they decided what they were going to do. It was not like a mechanical mistake on part of Shanghai. It was more like deck-wise decisions on part of Guadalajara when they knew when to pick the decks that they picked, and we even saw that on part of Oscar. He completely changed the strategy that he had on that last match. He came in with the balloon, he came in really hard for those pushes, and he broke 3 different decks in his 3 different matches.
Yeah, and actually that adaptation is really important, and it's really good for both teams. Now we'll see the SGTU Team 2 facing up against the Prepatec. We will also have these rounds, like we said on last time. First the 2v2, then the King of the Hill, and if it's necessary, we will have the 1v1 at the end. Now we'll see that Dragon Skeletons going for the SGTU team.
Oh, yes, that is correct. Remember, we're going to be seeing a balloon on the right side and Lock
Yeah.
That is the lumberjack right on the right side, and the rage is gonna be coming in. It was not enough. Fortunately, the cage was there to defend. Remember, we are seeing SGTU on the top, MC accompanied by Yu Yang, and on the bottom side of your screens, we're gonna be seeing Master Royale and Julian Pinal 12. So let's see how this performs, because so far we have nothing for any of these teams. None of them have been able to actually do a significant damage into the towers, and the winning conditions are interesting for both teams. We're going to be seeing Avalon and Lumberjack on part of SGTU.
And Lumberjack with Giant Skeleton.
Yep, that is correct. Giant Skeleton with Lumberjack, and double Giant Skeleton on part of Prepatec.
Yeah, we'll see what how they end up using these precise cards. I think it's really. Oh, we will also see a balloon for Prepatec.
Yep.
But that bomber tower will just stop it on its tracks. Let's see if it actually ends up doing a bit of damage. That tornado is gonna be just enough to stop the damage, and that death damage on the King's turret will be really bad for Prepatec.
Yeah, this is gonna be rough now for Prepatec. There comes a Mega Knight on part of SJTU team, and this is gonna be harder and harder for Prepatec. Rager is coming in to the right side. Hunter is gonna be there, but here comes the freeze to stop that from defending. 15-13 on the right side. The Venom is gonna be performing a lot of damage also. 14-13, 75, 6-2 actually on that right side tower in just one push from SJTU.
Yeah, that graveyard with poison was actually really good to stop them. Now we'll have that Giant Skeleton push with the Lumberjack and the balloon that may be just enough, but the Musketeer, the Tornado that ends up being perfect by the Prepatec team. But either way,
it's not
it
enough
will just do. Oh, it was just enough. 325 health left on that right side turret, and we'll go for the SJTU team.
The little archer. If you saw it at that exact last moment, that little archer is able to hit one on that turret.
That was actually what took the match. That was actually what?
Just one little arrow from the archer.
It was just more than enough. The tiny things will do amazing stuff if they're used properly. So we'll see what ends up doing in the second match. Again, we have a global ban for this next match. We'll see what it is. They actually had really similar decks. They were both running Balloon, they were both running Lumberjack, they were both running the Giant Skeleton. So it basically was more like
the timing, probably.
The timing,
moment
the mechanics.
Played, the micro game was probably a huge part on the win on part of Shanghai right here, because the decks had really similar cards. They had really similar win conditions.
It was basically the same win condition.
Yeah, it was pretty much Lumberjack, Rage, and Balloon coming in. They had similar kind of defenses. They had the Bomber Tower.
They both had the Tornado.
Yeah. So at the end, it came to when and where and how you use the cards to decide who took this first match.
It was actually interesting because I think the Prepatec team had a Goblin Cage that I actually didn't really see shine that much, especially because it was a balloon with a Giant Skeleton. You know, like Goblin Cage is really good more like with a Mega Knight, more like with more terrestrial, like ground tower, ground unit. So we'll see how they end up like adapting into this second match, because actually in this 2v2, we don't have that King of the Hill. Well, you lose. Let's get another player on the map. No, you actually have to play with the same two players that you chose. So that will basically be either a problem or an advantage in the sense that they can adapt, that they saw what Shanghai University was proposing. So they may end up like adapting to it and bring a different play style into this second match. And Prepatec must, if they want to.
They have to, because they weren't able to get a win within this first try that they had, the first proposal of decks that they had, and maybe they had the opportunity to do so, but they didn't time out correctly the cards. And now we're gonna go into the second match, and they have to actually win this if they don't want to lose the first point in the series. They need to change the strategy. They need to be able to perform on the micro game too if they want to get this one.
Yeah, they actually have to perform better on the micro game. It was actually, it was basically that problem because we saw mirror matches, mirror decks, so we'll have a little bit of a change. It was actually the balloon that was banned for by Prepa Tech, so we'll see what they end up doing with that. Goblin Cage gonna be used. I think they will actually like mirror again.
Yeah, they seem to have a really similar deck so
Oh,
far.
Dark Prince.
Dark Prince is going to be coming in. It's probably going to be a deck of Bridge Spam on part of Master Royale. He maybe have double Princes. And we're going to see if if this is enough for him to perform a good push on the close bridge. And now we're still seeing, you know, Shanghai on the top and Borregos Prepa Tech on the bottom. The Skeleton Dragons are going to be coming in to generate some kind of damage. They're just seeing what the opponent has, trying to see how they're going to generate the win condition. And so far, we haven't seen one.
No, we actually have the Dark Witch with the Dark Prince gonna be used on that left side turret. The Hunter's gonna stop them on their tracks without any further ado. Now we'll see a Cannon and Prince. You said it. It's actually a double Prince by the Prepa Tech team. So we'll see what they can do with it. And the Baby Dragon that's gonna stop both the Goblin Brawler and that Prince that will just do the charge damage against the Fisherman. Nothing else to do. The Baby Dragon against Baby Dragon gonna be used up. It's actually, I don't know, we still have
we're going to be going into the double deck elixir, and that is
probably
probably
even
going to be
the
the
third. I mean, it's really, a Golem.
double Golem. Actually, Golem and Golem on part of these teams. We're going to see a Bomber Tower now. And again, they have really similar win conditions. There are some things that changed. We're going to see a Lumberjack instead of the double Princes. And that is probably going to be the thing that tries
double
to...
Barbarian.
Yep, double the Barbarian to try to stop the push that was coming on the left side. And now the double Prince is going to try to stop the Golem on the side of Shanghai. But the first one already generated a little bit of damage on that left side tower of Shanghai. The Lightning that is going to generate a lot of damage. And there comes the Dark Prince. Nothing to be done there. And second Golem on part of Prepa Tech.
It may actually be a good push for Prepa Tech right now. They're
Nice
gonna be
lineup.
used up. Both actually poisons gonna be used in this precise moment. The Goblin Cage that will just stop it on its tracks. The Golem that will not do anything right now. That Archer on the right side turret doing a little bit of cheap damage. And again, the King Towers were activated, and that may be really, really bad for Prepa Tech in their next pushes.
Also, so far they have done good. They were able to get the first Golem into the
Better than
left
the
side
first
tower, and yeah, this seems much better for them because they have been able to defend. They have the cannon card, they have the Goblin Cage, and that is probably gonna win enough time for them to defend the Golem. And on the part of Shanghai, it's not gonna be that easy. They have the Lumberjack, they have the Prince, they have the
those are a
Witch,
lot of units.
but
Tornado again.
Tornado, that is really good. Accompanied also by the Venom, and that is gonna stop that whole push that was generated on the left side. Nice defense on part of Prepa Tech, and this might as well get us to the third game.
Yeah, it's actually really good by Prepa Tech right now. They have played the micro game way better. They have actually taken better decisions when to play their cards, when to counter. So they have done really well. Now we'll see. I think that Electro Wizard has done a lot without even noticing, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it has got a lot of value, it has got a lot of stuns, and so far it's gaining a lot of time for the Prepa Tech team. But that one,
I don't know if
seems
it's gonna
really
be enough.
rough. This is gonna
Lumberjack.
be the one. This has to be the push for Shanghai to be able to get this first
They're
tower.
not getting to
But
the
the
tower.
defense is there. They are able to stand the defense somehow. They were managing that defense, and they were able to do it. Now, there comes the second Golem now, and how are they going to stop it? They already invested a lot of elixir on their own Golem. 20 seconds left on the extra time.
This may be like taken to the last precise second, and that will poison damage. So we'll see what ends up doing.
We might get to sudden death.
Yeah, we may get to the sudden death and to the decider. It's gonna be used the poison on the left side, the lightning, and a little bit of damage. And with that,
we're gonna go to a draw.
To the draw. and the team from Prepa Tech will end up taking the point on this 2v2. We will be going to the third match.
This is really interesting. Again, it's like deja vu, pretty much,
Yeah,
because
basically.
we just saw this thing happen to Prepa Tech. They just had pretty much the same win condition. They just had the same idea than their opponents, and they lost because they weren't performing correctly. They weren't placing the cards correctly, and now the story repeats, but to
But
the
the
other
table's
side.
turned. Yeah, the table's turned, and actually it was Shanghai Jiaotong University that ends up taking the loss. It was actually really hard for them. I think it was like, again, those tiny changes in the decks, that Electro Wizard, that what else was
The Goblin
that actually
Cage, I
stopped?
believe so.
The Goblin Cage was actually mirrored.
The Night
I
Witch.
think it was the
Night Witch wasn't on the part of Prepa Tech. I believe the Shanghai didn't have the Prince. They had the Dark Prince, but not the Prince, as
Yeah.
it is. So this
I think it was
maybe the Gold
those
Prince
tiny
also
changes.
did a lot of damage also to the small units, to the golems. The charge we know from the Prince does a lot of damage, and there was no stuns to be able to stop it. They have maybe the tornado, they had the lighting to try to stop it, but if you invest the lighting, it's 6 elixirs that are gonna come back easily. So maybe at the end, those little changes were the ones that favored Prepa.
I really think it was those minor changes, because you had the Electro Wizard to stop the Dark Prince. You had also the Tornado to stop a lot of units and to really take advantage of the splash damage that you had with the Baby Dragon, that you had with basically with the Baby Dragon,
Venom,
the Venom, the Tornado. So it was those tiny decisions, those tiny changes that actually gave the Prepa Tech the win. Now we'll go to the third match, the final match of this 2v2, to see which team ends up taking their first point on this series, on this best of 3 series. Let's remember, it's first the 2v2. That will be the first point. Then we will have King of the Hill. There will be 3 players from each team facing each other. The first team that beats the other team's 3 players will take the point. And if it's necessary, we will go to the third point. That will be a 1v1, a best of 3 1v1, and that will be the finale. That will be just what ends up sealing the deal.
Yeah, whoever wins that is going to be winning the series, and is going to be heading directly into the semifinals. Right now, we have nothing written in paper, and this could go to any of these 2 teams.
And actually, whichever team ends up winning this series, despite this 2v2, whichever ends up winning, they will actually go against the Tecnológico Monterrey Campus Guadalajara. They will be facing against the team that we just saw, that last series between Campus Guadalajara and Shanghai Jiaotong University. So it will be a tough opponent. I think these tiny mistakes, this tiny micro gameplay will be actually punished by the Campus Guadalajara. So they will have actually to adapt a lot if whichever team ends up going to the semifinal. But we'll see this last match, 2v2. The Giant Skeleton actually is the final global ban by this team.
Right now, we're going to be seeing Shanghai Jiaotong University again on the top side of the map. And on the bottom, Prepa Tech is going to be representing blue side again. So far, we know this is going to start really slow. We are going to be seeing some exchanges, nothing to be worried about for any of these 2 teams. We already saw a Goblin Cage, Archers, Baby Dragon on part of Prepa Tech. And on part of Shanghai Jiaotong, we're going to see double Baby Dragon, actually.
I'm interested because of the Lumberjack. Because they actually don't have a balloon. No, they don't, because it's banned.
It is banned.
That's why I'm interested.
Golem again.
They could have Golem, or maybe a Giant even.
Giant could be an interesting idea. Royal Pain could be interesting also with the Lumberjack. There are kind of some different possibilities for the Lumberjack to be,
or maybe just a double
try to be effective.
A Dark Prince.
Even a Graveyard could be interesting in a 2v2 match, because you might as well be able to
do like a split push?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe that could be a really good idea. They have also the Night Witch in this part, so they could generate really slow pushes, but that can become really strong after they cross the bridge.
Yeah, actually, we'll see that golem again. Gonna be used up by the SJTU team too. So let's see. Well, yeah, it's basically a mirror match again. We'll see the tornado again used by Prepa Tech.
But Prepa has hunters.
That will be actually a really important point. But the golem from SJTU team is actually hitting. And the same for Prepa Tech. It will go do a little bit of damage.
Fisherman.
800
Fisherman
health.
might as well be really good answer for the golem, and it might be a really good breeze on part of Shanghai. 632 health on the left side tower, and they might as well have a lightning again. That could be the one that could seal the deal for Shanghai right now. But first, and before they can even try to do that, they have to defend this gun that is coming onto the right side. But the Fisherman is there. It's gonna defend, it's gonna slow again, and the Goblin Cage is also there. That push is not going to be effective on that right side tower, and here comes the second golem on part of Shanghai.
Yeah, it's actually a really good. You said it. The Fisherman's it's doing a lot of difference in this match. It's actually being really helpful. So we'll see how the Prepa Tech team ends up defending against him. They are just putting emojis at this precise moment. I think it's really, really hard. That golem will end up doing a lot of damage. And we go to the sudden death. And we still have 2 cards left from the Shanghai University to do. That's the lightning, and that will be just more than enough for the SJTU Team 2 to take on this first point, to take on the point of the 2v2.
And they pretty much repeated the deck that they had the last time.
Yeah.
It really didn't change that much.
Just the Fisherman that they didn't really have the last time.
And it makes such a huge difference. The fact that they could be able to misposition the golem, the fact that they were able to slow it, and to be constantly pulling it to a different direction, to be gaining that much time, make a huge difference. And they were able to take this third point. They have the first point of the match. They have the first point of the series now. And now we're going to go into the King of the Hill series, which is going to be 3 players against 3 players. Whichever loses the 3 players first is the one that is going to be losing this point. And whichever wins is going to take that.
Yep.
So, Prepa Tech needs to win this,
basically. Yeah, they basically need to win this point. These representatives from the Tecnológico de Monterrey. It's actually like their last chance, you could say.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because obviously Shanghai Yaotong University has 1 point already.
Yep.
So if they win this King of the Hill, they will be moving forward to the semifinals against the campus, the Tecnológico de Monterrey campus Guadalajara. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. It's actually, we talked about it, King of the Hill, 3 against 3. So strategy is really important. You may put your best player first and hope that he wins basically at least 2 matches, at least. Or you may put him at last and play him like your last chance, your last stand, your last leg, you could say, just for him to like try and come back on the race.
Here comes a lot of different strategies.
Yeah.
Maybe you can even put it on the middle to give confidence, or a fake or false confidence to your opponent, to make them think, okay, we got it, we
got the first match,
we have the first match, we're gonna keep pressuring on, and then the best player comes and it's gonna be like, maybe we don't have this, maybe we need to rethink what we are gonna be doing for this King of the Hill. And now this is like a chess match pretty much, because you need to know what pick, what decks to pick, what players to put in first, what players to put in last, and what decks are they going to play, because they only have 1 chance. They don't have bans, they don't have second opportunities, they don't have time for adaptation against these opponents, and you have to be guessing what they are going to be playing.
Yeah, basically, and it's really hard for these players to end up like doing this. You have to adapt on the spot, basically. Yeah. Like if you saw that your first player, your first partner didn't do that well, that the opponent ended up playing, I don't know, maybe beat them deck and he didn't really have an advantage, you have to adapt for the second time. Now we'll see the SJTU team on the bottom side and the Peripatek team on the top side. Actually, I think both of these players we haven't seen.
We haven't actually. Both Frozen and Karangus are gonna be coming up in the Royal Arena for the first time today, and we're gonna see how they perform. They're gonna be coming in for these 1v1 matches on the King of the Hill. Nice tornado to be able to activate the King Tower in these moments. Frozen is starting off with a good start, emoting even a little bit of BM on his part, you could say. But so far we have what seems to be lock bait on part of Karanjus and Frozen. We haven't really seen a win condition from him yet, but might as well be a graveyard, for example. Could be something that we might actually see from him.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe a Royal Pain.
A Royal Pain would actually be really interesting by him, but Karanjus in this moment will just stop on his tracks. That Valkyrie that will do a little bit of damage. Ooh, the Fisherman didn't get quite on time to save the Musketeer. He will actually end up... Ooh, it's a Mega Knight actually by Frozen. We'll see.
But Mega Knight is not win condition. We might as well see Graveyard Steel to accompany
Graveyard
that.
Graveyard with Mega Knight. Actually, it's with Mega Knight. You are a genius, my friend. And that Goblin Gang used by Karanjus on the left side turret just to defend. It will actually do a lot of a pretty well defense. And now, Karanjus on the advantage.
Yeah, Karan on the advantage. Barber is not going to connect directly. That was a little mistake on the micro game on part of Frozen that he barely missed what was the Goblin that was on the low part of that Goblin barrel. And also, the Princess is going to be generating a lot of damage on the right side tower, 1834 and 1341 on the left side tower. Slowly but steady, Karanjus is getting some value out of these barrels.
Actually, Goblin barrel that is going to be used on the left side turret. The Mega Knight is going to stop it on its tracks. It did a little bit of chip damage, just like one hit, so it wasn't really important, but, you know, from little hits like this little chip damage will be able to be just enough. That Graveyard going to be used by Frozen on the left side. Goblin Gang again going to be used up, but the Mega Knight gonna do a lot of damage on that left side turret, accompanied by the poison. 200, 800, and the Fisherman's gonna be just enough by Frozen to take on the match, and that will be just enough by SJTU Team 2. His first representative, Frozen, that takes on the first point. Let's remember, he still has to take on 2 other players. Frozen's gonna stay on the map. He's still the first representative from the SJTU Team 2. And now Prepatek has to
win 3 matches in a row.
Yeah, to win.
Well, they not in a row, but they need to win 3 matches.
They now have to bring their second player. They now just have 2 life left. Yeah, basically. You have 3 lives in this Frozen. Yeah, basically. So let's see how they end up facing each other, how they end up adapting. Because in the 2v2, we saw basically mirror match. We saw mirror decks. So now in these 1v1s, in this King of the Hill, we saw 2 different things. Actually, it was 2 players that we haven't seen, that they didn't play on the 2v2s in like comparison with the first series that we saw from Guadalajara and the first representative of the Shanghai Yaotong Universities, that they actually begun with the players that they used on the 2v2. So it's actually, we were talking about this, these little strategies that are good.
Maybe that was what they were trying to do. They were trying to bring in new players to surprise their opponent, and they both did. And they both did. Both of them were surprised. Both of them, they didn't know what to expect. And at the end, this Graveyard was able to pull out the win because there was really no answer.
It was actually
for the
like the Mega Knight, It was basically the Mega Knight. You said it, the Mega Knight was really the win condition. It was the Graveyard, but the Mega Knight actually ended up doing more damage than the Graveyard. The Graveyard was actually really well countered by the Goblin Gang and by the Valkyrie, but he didn't really have something to stop the Mega Knight.
He was forced to defend the Graveyard, and after he defended the Graveyard, he had nothing, absolutely nothing to stop the Mega Knight. So yeah, you're gonna defend the graveyard, but Mega Knight is gonna be coming in. He's gonna be doing the jump damage. Goblin Gang is pretty much gonna disappear after that initial damage
It
from the
actually
Mega Knight.
happened.
And yeah, it actually happened. It actually made damage to the Princess Tower on the left too. And as soon as that Mega Knight was going to die, the second one was already in the map.
Yeah, it was basically like a really well timed push by the SJTU team too,
Yep.
because they knew they had the window of opportunity to bring on. It was actually a micro game. I would call it a micro game, a mistake by the Prepatec team. Why? Because that Goblin Gang, that last Goblin Gang on the left side turret to defend the graveyard was actually really bad misplaced, and it was attacked by the Mega Knight. So that, I think that was like the really big problem on this side. Now we have the SJTU team on the top side with Frozen and Adrian CR on the bottom side with the Prepatec. And actually, it's an X-Bow deck against maybe a bridge spam, like a yeah.
Oh, X-Bow connected on the right side. It's locked down now, and here comes the Royal Ghost, but it's not gonna be enough to stop the X-Bow on time. 1754 on that right side tower. Royal Ghost is gonna connect a couple of times on that right side tower too, but Frozen started off strong with the cannon card too, but wasn't enough damage wasn't as much damage as the X-Bow was able to connect on the right side tower. So now the real question here is, how is Frozen gonna deal with the X-Bows?
Yeah, it's actually, I was just thinking about that, because it's actually really hard for him to defend against the X-Bows. We have seen most of his deck by now, and he doesn't really have a clear response to the X-Bow. So we'll see what he ends up doing, how he ends up facing it, and now we'll see that Royal Ghost being used up. He really can't do anything by now, and that Knight just gonna be stopped. Ooh, that Magic Archer may be the answer.
Magic Archer can actually start making some damage against the turret when trying to do damage also to the crossbow. So depending on the position of both the X-Bow and the Magic Archer, he could be dealing a lot of damage to the Princess Tower if well positioned. But right now, it is getting harder because there hasn't been a second X-Bow yet.
The lead barbarians. Watch out with the lead barbarians, because they are actually going to connect to the right side turret. He doesn't have any elixir. It's actually really hard. And this split push by the Frozen, the SJTU team, to representative has actually paid off. It's actually really good. It's actually really interesting that they have the same amount of health left. Yeah. It's basically it.
I told you,
and now we
Magic
have
Archer.
the Bandit, the Magic Archer that will just do enough damage, and the Sap being accompanied by the Tiny Archers gonna do, well, stop the Magic Archer.
Yeah, so far he was able to reset that Archer focus with the Sap. That was a good play on part of Adrian CR, but it's probably not enough yet. He needs to actually be able to put the X-Bow, maybe even the double X-Bow on the field. Now here comes the first one. Here comes the Barbar on try to stopping it. It's going to be focusing on the Hunter. Then it's going to be focusing on the Cannon card. And probably it's not going to be enough. Another Royal Ghost is coming in with the Cannon card. And a Bandit is coming into the left side. The split push is going to be really, really effective for Frozen right now. He has a really good advantage in the elixir also, and we're gonna be seeing really difficult circumstances for Adrian.
Yeah, he hasn't really been able to do something with the X-Bow, rather other than the first initial push that he was able to lock down on the right side Princess turret. So we'll see what he can do, and the Bandit will do just enough damage on the right side turret, and that will be the victory for SJTU Team 2 on this second match. Actually, Frozen has taken on two players, no?
He has 2 wins already. He just needs to clear the last player from Prepatec, and that is pretty much going to be it. It's going to be the match point right now. Frozen already has 2 wins on the King of the Hill, and he just needs 1 more. Even so, if he loses, Shanghai still has 2 more opportunities to bring down the last player from Prepatec. And on Prepatec's side of view, or point of view, this is your last chance. You have to win 3 matches in a row with just 1 player. It is a colossal feat to do, but
It,
it's doable.
it's doable, but it's really hard. Like
Yeah.
he he either has to have like 3 different archetypes
Yep.
in order to.
Or maybe even use the same one 3 times and
But
make it
that,
effective.
I don't know. The problem is that if you do that, it will be like really bad if the other team like didn't adapt or didn't respond.
Yeah.
At least in the third match, you know,
But
like
remember, this is like a chess game. You're playing
yeah,
mind
you're
games
playing
right
mind
now,
games, yeah,
so
basically.
you're if they think you're gonna play something different and try to adapt to that something different that you might come up with, and you play the same thing, you might as well have the advantage. You might as well have 2 wins in a row, for example, and you might as well unbalance your opponent.
Actually, let's say this: these teams haven't met each other like before, so it may be really hard for them to actually like prepare for for their opponents.
Yeah.
They really don't have anything like any
And
prior
they're
notice.
from different regions, and
Ba-
sometimes
yeah,
meta
basically.
changes between these regions, and they might be not used to what they are trying to play. They are trying to bring up into the game. I mean, Clash Royale is a little bit more universal,
Yeah.
but there are still some players that might as well get out of this kind of meta in the specific regions. We have, for example, here in Mexico, we have one player that uses Xbox with Elixir Collector, so that is something really interesting that
Yeah.
happens right here, and probably only happens here.
And actually, you were talking about the region. Actually, both representatives of Tecnológico de Monterrey, both teams, have played Expo.
Yep.
So that's really, you were talking about it, and I think it's really like more like an America's kind of point of view that Expo, that it may actually work. So we'll see what they end up doing. Frozen on the bottom side right now for SJTU Team 2. And Crucito is going to be the last stand, the last chance for Prepa Tech. Graveyard going to be used, and Mega Knight
Mega Knight.
stopping them on their tracks without any problem. A little bit of chip damage by those
Lumberjack?
tiny skeletons.
One,
But
two,
the Lumberjack,
three. What?
ooh, two.
What happened there? I'm not sure what Frozen was thinking right there. He's even crying right now about it because
Like
he
I-
knows. He
yeah.
knows. He had to stop that lumberjack, and now the balloon is coming in. There is no rage to accompany it, but there is a Mega Knight. He's gonna be able to tank, but the
Well,
Princess Tower is focusing the balloon.
But there actually is.
It's gonna connect.
Yeah, it's gonna
It is?
connect because
What?
Frozen doesn't have a response.
Yeah.
He used his Hunter first, then the goblins actually didn't connect against him, so it's really hard. And the Graveyard is not gonna do any damage right now for Frozen. Crucito actually may take this and really easy. We may actually end up. Well, going into the next match without even needing the sudden death.
Yep. He might as well do it. He might as well be the hero that Prepa Tech needed. He might as well be also the hero that they deserved. And now Infernal Dragon is going to be coming in on the left side. Let's see if he can get any kind of value. Mega Knight is going to be destroying that cannon that was left after the card was destroyed. And now Mortar was going to be able to connect once, but that is not going to be enough.
But how do you stop the Mega Knight?
16 on the left side. There's no answer. Actually, only Spirit Goblins. Sap is going to destroy them. Knight is going to try to stop it. It's going to be enough, but now the Infernal Dragon. But look at the Elixir advantage. 10 Elixir for Prepa Tech, 3 Elixir for Frozen. This is really good. It has been a really clean performance on part of Crucito.
Yeah, Crucito maybe like what we talked at the beginning of this King of the Hill. He may be the best player from Prepa Tech, and they were like leaving him
answer for
to
the
the
balloon.
last. Now we'll see with the Hunter, it will
Dead
stop
damage.
Helmet Tracks, but the damage, no! It actually wasn't the dead damage. He does a little bit of damage with the explosive damage, and then it explodes with dead damage. Crucito may take this point home. For Prepa Tech, we have to push with the Graveyard and the Poison on the left side turret for SJTU Team 2. But Frozen, we will say bye-bye to him. And the second player of the SJTU Team 2 will be facing against Crucito.
A huge breath of life. Crucito, the light in the darkness right now for Prepa Tech. He still needs to beat 2 more players from Shanghai. He still needs to do a colossal feat, but he's off with a good start.
Yeah, he's off with a good start. He still, like you said, has to take 2 other players.
Yep.
They saw what he was what he proposed. This Frozen actually didn't have an answer. It was really just a deck counter. It was really hard for him. He didn't have anything to defend the balloon other than the Hunter, and that first push where he had to use the Hunter to defend. I don't really remember what he defended, but he defended and he didn't have it for the balloon, and it ended up doing the Mega Knight, right? And it ended up doing.
Even so, the first one was the Lumberjack because remember, Lumberjack was able to connect 3 times on the left side tower, and he used the Hunter, but really, really late. So Lumberjack already had connected 3 times. There came the Hunter. Mega Knight was able to finish off with the Hunter, so there was really no answer for the balloon other than the Spirit Goblins.
And
but
the mortar.
Spirit Goblins died to a sap.
Yeah, and the mortar with the the mortar ends up taking like the aggro from the balloon, but it just gives you time. It doesn't do any damage to the balloon. So if you don't really have a response, if you don't have an answer, if you don't have the damage to take on the balloon, if you don't have that air damage, it will basically win. And that's what we saw. Yeah, that's what we saw. Crucito played that perfectly. He timed it well, and it was more of a deck counter. Frozen really didn't have much to do against that counter. It was really hard for him. He had to stop a Mega Knight and a Mega Knight with a Lumberjack and a balloon. He didn't have those resources.
Yeah, it really came up with the deck decision, and also Crucito really played it really clean, really well. That has to be said. It was not just a deck, but because if he hadn't performed the way he did, he may as well have given up that match. But at the end, Crucito really did well. Really picked a really good deck against his opponent, and was able to take the first win for the King of the Hill on part of Prepatech. Now we're gonna go to the second match and see if Crucito is able to perform as well as the last one and is able to keep the dream alive for Prepatech.
Or if the SJTU Team 2 ends up taking the W, ends up taking the win on this second match. MC is going to be their representatives, and Crucito with that sap will stop the Goblins. Nothing else to do, and now we have a cannon card on the right side turret that's going to be facing against that Hunter.
We're still on match point for Shanghai Jiaotong University, and
Crucito's going for a same deck.
Yeah, pretty much as what we saw on the last match, and probably Crucito is gonna be repeating himself on the deck too. We already saw the Lumberjack, we already saw the Inferno Dragon, and this is probably gonna be interesting because if Mortar comes up again from MC, we could be seeing a deja vu again in this match.
Actually, I think Crucito is bringing. It's actually it's basically the same deck.
This is trouble for Shanghai,
and Crucito has one with this deck. So let's see how he ends up doing it. We still have left to see the balloon, but I don't see why he wouldn't bring it right now. We have the Mega Knight. The last one is probably the balloon. We will have the cannon card. It's gonna stop the Mega Knight. An excellent sap by Crucito to defend. Mega Knight is just gonna fall short, and will end up dying.
Hunter should be probably on rotation and part of MC, so Crucito is gonna probably gonna be waiting up for him to be using that. Knight is gonna be coming on the backside. Oh, Lumber Balloon, it's gonna be coming in. The Mortar is gonna try to stop it. And Hunter is on the rotation. I told you, we knew that this was gonna happen, but it's probably not the best position to put it because it was also so close.
That was so close to connecting. It was actually really close, and now we have the Graveyard by MC. That's gonna be his response, but the Hunter by Crucito is gonna defend perfectly the Knight, and we have the Fireball. That's a lot of damage. 1600 left on that right side turret. It's actually pretty good by MC. In this precise moment, now let's see if he can defend, because other than the cannon card and the mortar, he doesn't have much.
He doesn't have much, actually. He might as well bring up the Hunter again, and Barbara was coming on the far side. That's probably enough to defend the Mega Knight. It's not going to generate any kind of trouble. Fisherman is going to be coming into the arena right now, and it's going to pull the Knight to avoid any kind of trouble with that. The Spirit Goblins are just generating a little bit of cheap damage, and now here comes the Lumberjack. It's probably going to be accompanied by the Balloon, and we're going to see a Fireball destroying the Mortar. Here comes the Balloon, here comes the Rage, there is a Hunter. It's going to be pulled out by the Fisherman, and is it going to connect? It's probably not going to do it, but the damage is there again. Goblins only just one falls, but suddenly the health bars are pretty much the same.
It's actually pretty equal, but let's call it. MC has the advantage in the triple elixir. He actually has a lot of high-cost cards, so that may be enough for him to take on the win. We'll see now. The Fisherman gonna destroy that Knight without any problem. The Fireball gonna be used up by Crucito. The Hunter doing the same. And now Hunter against Hunter again, and obviously the Mortar. Gonna be a lot of damage. But let's see. MC doesn't have a defense. MC doesn't have an attack. He just has defense.
Yep.
So it's really hard for him to counter with something. Mortar took one Fireball, hit, and that Fireball, dead damage again. It will be basically either we will see the tiebreaker possibly.
Yeah, tiebreaker is might as well come in. Remember, we still have the triple elixir coming in. This is going to be the last minute of this match coming up right now. Mega Knight is again in the field. Here comes another balloon. Let's see if the Lumberjack is going to try to accompany that. The Mortar is just dead. And also the Hunter is dead.
Oh,
this balloon is going to connect. This is going to be it. Crucito just takes the second win and keeps the dream alive. Just one more left for Crucito. Just one more victory for him. And we're going to be going into the third match.
Ooh, that's actually really good by Crucito. We were talking about the strategies that you bring
and I told
this
you,
King of the
he
Hill.
might as well repeat the deck.
Yeah, actually he did. But
their opponents
what really blew my mind, yeah, that was the problem. They lost with that deck and they repeated it. It was really like, nah, I don't think he's gonna repeat. It was really just a deck, and they both repeated, and that was the problem. But what was most insane for me, it was that they were two different players from SJTU Team 2 that played the same deck. So it's either
now. Here comes the question: what are they going to play now? Are they going to keep going with
flip the coin and go the same?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're probably not gonna.
Third time's the charm.
They're probably not gonna go for the Mortar now, but now the question is Crucito gonna go Balloon Lumberjack again? He might as well not, and maybe that would be the most intelligent idea, but he might as well do, and that might actually be enough and might be like the thing or the crucial point that is gonna bring him the victory. It's
actually really hard. You were talking about it. The mind games in this King of the Hill, the sense that he won 2 times in a row with the same deck against the same deck. So he's basically playing with the minds of the SJTU Team 2 players in the way that they're thinking. Is he gonna play this Lumberjack Balloon again, or is he gonna change up? Is he going? What else can he play?
What do we prepare for?
Yeah, is he gonna even go with a beatdown deck, or is he gonna change to a cyclo deck?
And the worst part of it is that you don't even know what else could he be playing.
Yeah, exactly. He may
this is
crossbow.
Pretty much the first time you're playing against him because he didn't participate in the 2v2 either, and they haven't faced each other. And now he has beaten 2 of your players. Frozen did so too, actually. But now Crucito beat Frozen, and now Crucito went for the second win too. And what now? Shanghai has to think, but what is it going to do now? And
that's the interesting thing. You could say Frozen was maybe we don't know really, but maybe Frozen was the best player for SJTU Team 2. It was like the one they had all the hopes on, and he ended up winning 2 times. But Prepatec had Crucito on their last leg, on their last player. So we'll see this last match between these 2 teams, and we'll see who ended up taking the second point. If it's SJTU Team 2 from the Shanghai Jiaotong University, they will actually be moving on to the semifinals. If not, if Crucito takes on this match, we will see actually the third
we're gonna go to the third
match that is actually the best of 3 1v1. So we'll see how it ends up doing, and Crucito appears like it's the same deck.
Yeah, it seems to be so, Crucito.
But now they have a Goblin Cage.
Yeah, they have a Goblin Cage. Whoa. 40 seconds in, and we already saw the Mega Knight connecting into that left side tower, because there is a lot of cards that are bringing out flying cards for SJTU right now, and maybe that is not enough to stop a Mega Knight on the ground.
Yeah, it's actually really hard. Like, just from this ooh, a golem. We
And
actually
there is no Inferno Dragon in rotation.
no, it's actually really interesting because this is a deck that the other team of SJTU, of the Shanghai Jiaotong University,
Yep.
used. So I think this may really be like something region-wise.
Maybe.
I don't
Maybe. It could be. Golem is not that seen in our region here in Latin America that
in
much,
America,
actually. But they are actually getting a lot of value. The Golemites are going to be pushing on into the left side tower, and they're going to be bringing up enough damage to bring that tower below 1900 health right now. So, it's interesting that Shanghai went for this early golem since we are not in the double X elixir right now, and it's mostly I heard that you bring into the double X elixir. Now the balloon is going to be coming in. Goblin Cage is going to try to stop it, but it's probably not going to be enough because the rage is there. It's going to
tornado, amazing.
Tornado, it's good,
No,
but
it's
not
either
good
way.
enough. It's going to connect one time. Dead damage is big. It's going to be coming in 950 on the left side tower. Crucito, what is going on? Is he gonna bring on the third win? Is he gonna win 3 times in a row with the same deck? It could be possible.
And I actually, he may even take like 5 wins in a row because he will probably be the representative for the 1v1.
Yeah.
So we will see how they end up facing each other. The golems aren't going to connect. It was an amazing fireball used by Crucito to defend, but 600 health left on that left side turret by Crucito. SJTU team has that advantage, has a disadvantage in this precise moment, and the Lumberjack with the balloon is gonna be maybe just more than enough.
He has lightning, but he has not enough elixir. Is gonna be able to connect. Ooh, nice.
The damage at least.
Dead damage is gonna connect. Sudden death right now. The last 120 seconds of the match. Hunter is gonna stop that golem on its point, and the Fisherman again is being really effective. And if it even dies, there is an Infernal Dragon right there to stop the main golem.
Wait
but
up.
Fireball is gonna be really good on part of Crucito. He has no elixir, and now he has to start gaining that elixir back and trying to make another push.
But the problem is that Crucito has basically 2 fireball damage that may be just enough to take on the SJTU Team 2 turret.
Fisherman.
So that will be really interesting. The Fisherman that will be taken.
Dead
No,
damage.
that was be. No, that will be just
186.
really close.
Crucito is he might go out.
100 health left. 630 on that right side turret, and this may be enough. We have the balloon,
Lightning might
but
will be enough.
do you think?
Lightning is enough for Shanghai to win this, but there is the rage he has to defend. There is a
Amazing
tornado. He
tornado.
has
Yeah,
not
that's
enough elixir, and that is probably gonna
Times
be
3 elixir, and the lightning gonna be used, and that will be Dreams Crush for Prepatec. An amazing run for Crucito. So close, yet so far for this representative of Prepatec, of Tecnológico de Monterrey, Prepatec. It was really, really close, but not enough.
I feel so bad, man. I feel so bad because Crucito was so close, so close to actually bringing that third win, to actually turning the tables around.
It would have been amazing.
It would have been an amazing feat, but at the end, there was no answer for the column. There was not enough defense on part of Crucito to be able to stop
was that
second
Fisherman.
one.
That Fisherman timing was horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't have elixir or if he didn't have the card, but that was really the problem. That last Fisherman
damage came into the turret. That probably was one that closed that match for him. And yeah, it's maybe that he seemed a little bit unexperienced on the use of the Fisherman.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't able to pull it
that
on
timing.
the correct timing. He wasn't able to pull it. Something that really amazed me is the fact that he wasn't able to activate the King Tower, because it would have been really, really easy with Fisherman to do so.
Yeah, it would have been actually really good. So we will see how they end up playing. Well, obviously the SGTU Team 2 will be going to the next phase, going to the semifinals against the Borregos, the Tecnológico Monterrey Campus Guadalajara. So we'll see how they end up facing, because Guadalajara actually won against the type of decks that SJTU Team 2 brought up on this match. So I hope that they adapt that they have this in mind for tomorrow, for these matches that we will see, and we have that winner for SJTU Team 2 right now. Let's see what they can do on the next phase, because it's actually going to be really interesting. Do you think they can take on Tecnológico Monterrey Campus Guadalajara?
They might as well do so, but it's gonna be really hard because we already saw Guadalajara trying to or winning in a really decisive way against SSS JTU, and it really seemed that hard for them to be able to adapt this kind of method that China is bringing into the table.
Yeah.
And they have done it already once. And what we saw in this second match from Prepatec against SJTU Team 2 was that they were really close to losing that King of the Hill.
Yeah.
They were like this close to actually losing King of the Hill, and to go into the third map and to be in a really rough position where they might as well be attacked psychologically after losing the second part of the series.
And the interesting thing was that Crucito actually played the same deck three times in a row.
Yeah.
He actually went for it. And he got really close. I mean, this particular deck by SJTU Team 2 was actually a better counter against that deck by Crucito.
But it wasn't
like really
50-50.
Yeah, it wasn't really a counter. It was just like it did a little bit better because of the Goblin Cage, because of a little bit of other units, and because Crucito didn't have something to counter the Golem. It was actually more like, okay, I don't counter you, but you don't counter me either, so I can win. And that was basically it. The Golem ended up doing more than the balloon.
Yep.
Obviously, because of the spells. Actually, the spells
Tornado,
by...
Tornado was a really, really intelligent idea on part of Shanghai, because they knew that even maybe if they didn't have like a real counter against the balloon, that Tornado might as well buy them enough time to be able to deal with the balloon, at least before it connected with the tower, and just have to get with the dead damage, and that might as well be enough for them to generate enough damage with the column.
Actually, if I don't recall, if I recall correctly, the balloon didn't land. I think it landed once, I think, and that was just it. It only landed once. The other ones were just death damage by the balloon, but it was actually really interesting by them. Okay, now let's see. We have seen actually, like, it's really interesting for me because we have seen two playstyles completely different from the two different regions. We've seen the two teams from Mexico, and we saw two teams from China. So, and they played really similar between them.
They were similar matches, really similar matches, and we saw some kind of metas that were coming in from China that we really hadn't seen here in the region, and that might as well come as an advantage or might as well come as a surprise for Tecnológico or the Monterrey players. But so far they were able to adapt as this Guadalajara did, and they adapted to this kind of strategies.
And really good.
And were able to pull out the win. They did really good, as you said. And now on part of Shanghai, they were able to adapt a little bit on what the meta might as well be here. And even I would say that Balloon is really not that common, really not that popular even here. And after being beaten twice by this deck from Crucito, they were able to adapt. They were able to bring in a different option that was both effective against this deck and some other decks that might as well came out from Crucito.
But now we will have another match, the third match, between the last team from Tec Campus, Tecnológico Monterrey, Campus Monterrey. Actually, they will be facing. Hey guys, welcome back. We will just, well, seeing things how they ended up doing,
The
and it
resolution.
appears that the NTU team ended up winning that second match of the King of the Hill, therefore winning that 2v2 match,
Yeah, true,
not
true.
the King of the Hill, and they ended up winning the first point of this best of 3. Now we'll be heading to the King of the Hill to
Yep.
face to well battle this second point of the best of 3.
Yeah, we're about to see what is going to happen in this second part of the series. Remember, we're gonna have King of the Hill, which with 3 lives, pretty much. Three
Yeah,
players are
basically.
gonna be selected for each team. Each one of them is gonna have one opportunity to bring down or to get the victories. Whichever loses all the player first is the one that is gonna be losing, and whichever is left standing in is gonna be down the victory for their team. And NTU right now has the advantage with 1 global point in the score, and so far this means that Shanghai Lightning has to come up with the win right now
Yeah.
if they want to keep or stay alive in the series.
Yeah, they actually have to win in order to stay alive in the series.
Yep.
I just said it. It'll be hard.
Yep. Not
They
impossible, though.
Yeah, not impossible, but actually that 2v2 at least match that we saw was actually like really well played by
Yep.
NTU. So now we will see how they ended up doing on this like King of the Hill that is not a 2v2. Now it's just a 1v1,
1v1.
and it
Yep.
may be like the strong suit of the Lightning team of the Shanghai Yaotong University.
Yep.
So we'll see how they end up doing and what strategy they will be facing.
Yep.
We have talked this a million times. It's basically like a relay race, like a tag team,
Yep.
however you want to call it. You can put your best player in
the
front, at the
start,
top,
yep.
at the start, or your best player at the end. You can do it however you want,
There are a
and
lot of
we'll see
possibilities
how they
to
ended up
do it
doing.
to
And
here.
we'll see One Punch Man by Light. Gonna use that. Ooh, that arrow that was actually pretty well timed for the Goblin Barrel.
Oh, but now here comes
that's a
the
strong
minion
push.
gang, and the minion horde is probably gonna generate a lot of damage. The mega minion is gonna fall down into these little units, and also they're gonna generate a 1670 life pool for that left side tower.
It was
Why?
a really good push.
Because the arrows came in too
Ooh.
early.
But we have that Lava Hound, and a Furnace gonna be used up by CGLS. A Lava Hound by One Punch Man. That maybe, well, not maybe. That's probably a Lava Loon.
Yep.
Let's see. There's a balloon. Let's
There
see
it is.
what else they're gonna use to support it. Maybe Lumberjack. I don't know.
Ooh, lightning! That is gonna
Oh, that
generate a
fireball.
lot of damage, and the balloon is gonna connect not just one, but twice probably.
Thrice.
And even the third one is gonna be coming in,
even against
and
the
probably
king.
gonna be dealing a lot of
Once.
damage on the king tower. It's gonna connect once, and
Once
there
and
are
death
still
damage.
the little houndies that are gonna be generating a little bit more cheap damage on the king tower. But in the meantime, 642 health on the side of One Punch Man that just suffered a little damage from that Goblin Barrel, which he had no answer for.
Yeah, actually, he didn't have any answer right now. And it appears that the Shanghai Yaotong University has a big advantage in this precise moment. And it's going to be hard for Team NTU to come back against this deck, to come back against this Lava Loon. Because, yeah, they have chip damage, but they really don't have a strong defense against the Lava Loon other than the Minion Horde and
Yep.
maybe the Witch.
The Witch.
But I don't think it's really enough. They will actually try to push like a base race
It's
right
gonna
now.
be a race.
It's gonna be a base race basically. So we'll see
Yep.
how they end up. The Skeleton Horde gonna do a lot of damage against the turret. But meanwhile, the Lava Loon doing their job and destroying the right side turret.
2 crowns right now on part of Team NTU have been lost, have been done into their opponent, and now the Lightning is going to be pushing in even more. One Punch Man has been being really aggressive with this push, something that we really haven't seen from Shanghai Jiaotong before, and another balloon is going to be coming in. The Minion Horde are going to be trying to perform on the other side, but that is not going to be enough. Balloon is going to be the one that wins the base race right now. Team NTU falling on the first match of the King of the Hill.
It's actually a 3 crown by One Punch Man
Yep.
from the light team of the Shanghai Yaotong University. They actually played that really, really well. And we were talking about it.
They
Maybe
didn't
the
try
one
to
to one.
defend.
Yeah, it was just
They
a
knew
base
they
race.
had to go for the
Yeah.
whole kill. They knew they had to try to win it by finishing off the opponent's towers first. But
It was actually an interesting thing because both
Yep.
teams adapted.
Yep.
Like both teams realized that that was a strategy, that they
Yep.
had to go for the kill because neither of them had defenses.
Yep.
The NTU team representative didn't really have air defenses, and the Shanghai Yang. Sorry,
One Punch Man.
the One Punch Man really didn't have ground defenses.
Yep.
So it was really, really, really hard for them to counter the opponent. They just had to base race, and at
Yep.
the end, I mean, One Punch Man had the advantage because he was the first one to push.
he
That
had
was
the tank.
basically-
He
yeah.
had the tank and he had the balloon. There was no response for
Yeah, it was easier.
the Lava Hound. And so, as soon as the towers start going to the aggro on the Lava Hound, the balloon has free range.
Yeah.
He has a free road to pretty much get into the Princess Towers and do as much damage as it wants. And that was a huge difference because it was a real explosive damage, a really good tank, and they were both aerial units that did have no response other than the minion horde that was being used aggressively on part of NTU.
And even if he used Minion Horde, he still had the lightning. And that lightning was used perfectly
had the
to
arrows.
counter everything. Yeah, he basically had... One Punch Man really had everything planned for that round. He really had everything planned. Now let's see this King of the Hill. Remember, now One Punch Man will stay for the Shanghai University, and the second player from Team NTU will be coming up. Will be starting and facing against this One Punch Man, and we'll see if they can take him down, because it really was a decisive first match. And let's see what the adaptation from both teams are. If either One Punch Man is gonna repeat his deck, this beatdown deck that, as we stand, we see a Lava Hound, but we see a Tombstone, a card that we rarely see.
Yeah, this is not a really common card so far.
It's like
Hog
one of
Rider
the
was coming
worst
in.
spawners, I may say.
Yeah, it even got buffed recently, and it really wasn't enough to bring it into the meta, to get a place into the meta. But so far, he's probably gonna repeat pretty much the deck that he was using before. It's just gonna be changing up with the Tombstone, and a Lava Loon is gonna be coming in again. And now I don't think there is enough aerial responses on part of CSH either.
I am really intrigued by that Tombstone, because I don't know if it was a really good counter from Light that they ended up choosing
Balloon
this Tombstone
connected
just to defend against
Balloon is gonna connect twice.
the Hog Rider, and the Balloon that's just doing a lot of damage, accompanied by those tiny Lava Hounds, and will even do a little bit of death damage against that King's turret. And that's
And
basically
he had
One
the
Punch
Wizard
Man.
too.
Yeah, a
One
big
Punch
advantage.
Man winning this early on again,
With
and
one
we
punch.
haven't gone into the pretty much he's honoring his name pretty much, and we haven't even gotten into the double elixir yet. But so far the Lava Loon has got already
that
one
miner.
Princess Tower. The miner, there is no answer for that. Of course, he's gonna invest everything into the aerial push. There is also not a good answer for the Hog Rider, but
Other than
that's
Tombstone.
not the problem, or that is not what he's gonna try to concentrate in. He's gonna try to bring in as much damage as possible and try to bring down these turrets by using the Lava Loon combination.
Actually, One Punch
here
Man,
comes again.
he's done it before, and he's doing it again. He's just playing his
damage
game.
again?
He's just playing his game. He's just doing. He knows that he can't defend, so he will just attack. He knows that's the case here, and that's how he's.
And he knows that his opponent cannot defend this either, so
And the problem is that again, Team NTU doesn't have a clear attack either, so it's really hard for them to counter.
yeah.
Either
it's-
counter push or counter
counter push.
the attack.
that's exactly the problem. They do not have something to actually counter the Lava Hound. They do not have something to counter the balloon. And now it is connected on the King Tower. It's gonna connect twice right now. It's gonna connect the dead damage, and the arrows are gonna be coming in. 10 seconds left. Probably nothing else is gonna be destroyed right now. But this match is again going for One Punch Man. Second time he's gonna be using this Lava Loon combination and getting a win off of it.
Yeah, he ends up getting a win, One Punch Man. Really well played by him, and another 2-crown victory for him. And now he will like maybe even like take it all by himself, like win the whole King of the Hill. He just has one remaining player from Team NTU left, and One Punch Man is basically carrying his whole team in this King of the Hill.
Yeah, pretty much. He has already gotten 2 wins so far with the same deck, pretty much the same archetype at least, and.
It's basically the same deck, other
yeah,
than like
I'm actually really surprised that there
change.
was not enough aerial response or defenses on part, or any, or enough splash damage on part of
Team
NTU. But now they have to think what is going to happen on the third match. This is the last chance for Team NTU to actually stay in this second part, in this King of the Hill, and they might as well be thinking, is a Lava Loon be coming up again, or is something else going to be coming up?
Basically, it's the mind games right now. Like, you don't know if One Punch Man is going to replay for the 3rd time his deck.
It has been effective, though.
It has been really effective, but more like it, because Team NTU, like, they played the same deck they did in first game. But, like, yeah, they picked the Ice Wizard. Yeah, it kind of slowed down the balloon, but it really isn't a response for the balloon.
It doesn't destroy it.
No, yeah,
it has no damage.
The problem
really.
is, yeah, you can slow it down, but if you don't have anything else to destroy it, like, it's not worth it. Like, if you're gonna go that way, maybe a lumberjack support like the Hog Rider would have been better, you know, like just base race.
Attack, But to be honest, Ice Wizard, Princess are a lot of resources to be invested in just trying to stop a balloon, but it's not enough because
Musketeer or Hunter,
Musketeer could be a good idea. Even Baby Dragon could have been a better idea to try to do a damage at the same time to both the Lava Hound and the balloon, but still wasn't enough. Maybe bringing up even a Mage could be a really good idea. Fireball, maybe Firecracker could be a good idea, but she doesn't have also the best attack speed in the game.
Yeah, she's really slow.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Electro Wizard to try to stop
or even a Bomber Tower, you know, like
or a Tesla.
A Tesla Tower, or even an Inferno Tower, like anything, any structure that would have stopped the Lava Loon. That would have been amazing. An Inferno Tower, yeah, basically any turret or structure that would have like stopped the Lava Loon, that would have been perfect. And we'll see if it happens in this 3rd game. If it happens, if they try to react, if they try to counter it, or well, maybe even Shanghai University will do something completely different, and he will play a completely different archetype. Maybe a cycle deck. Maybe a bridge spam. I don't know. We will see what he has left for us. And we will go right into this 3rd match.
We're going to go into the 3rd match. This is probably going to be the last opportunity for Team NTU to get the win directly in the King of the Hill. We're going to see a Royal Ghost and Tombstone. This sounds to me like a Lava Loon once again.
And we have a Fisherman that isn't really a response against the Lava Loon, because he really doesn't have like a clear response. Yeah, okay. Now we have a Hunter. And that may be interesting. Like, to defend against the Lava Loon, he's really good against.
What about the balloon? I mean, he can stop the Lava Hound, but that is lighting. That is something that we have to be reminded of, and Light does. They have the lighting, they have something to actually stop that. And yeah, I know I just did that.
It's a Royal Pain.
But Royal Pain is going to be coming in. What is the answer? What is going to be what One Punch Man is going to do right there?
Because he really doesn't have any structures, and he's
going to play that game again. Just base race and try to be the one that pushes harder.
Yeah, basically it's just a base race again. Like, they are both going to play their games. They don't have a counter for each other, so they're just like going for it. Like, they're just going to throw their troops. They're going to try to win the game by their own means. So we'll see how they end up doing. We'll see, obviously, the Lava Hound used on the left side turret on the left side lane, and the Royal Ghost gonna be used by Hermes, the guy from Team NTU, the last guy from Team NTU,
Yep.
and their last chance on this King of the Hill.
Last chance for NTU
We
to
haven't
actually
seen
get
the
a
balloon.
win, to actually get One Punch Man out of the way. But here
Where's the
comes the
balloon?
Royal Pain again, but we haven't seen the balloon. As you just said, the Royal Pain is going
I
to be
think he's-
connecting a couple of times on the left side lane. But somehow,
I think he's waiting for this,
Yeah.
2 times elixir.
maybe that is what the point he's waiting. He knows that Hunter is in there, and I do not really like that balloon being so defensive or being pulled out so far in the field or so defensively.
I mean-
But now the Lava Hound
the
is
Lava
here,
Hound-
and he may
Ooh.
actually connect
No,
here.
the
Ooh.
Hunter.
But,
Oh,
but it's
but-
not enough. It's not enough. It's gonna connect again. It's gonna be the balloon again. The death
Death
damage
damage
is there,
again.
there, and now they're tied up again. One tower for one tower, but here comes the second balloon, and the first Lava Hound isn't dead yet.
Okay, Electro Wizard that it's gonna do a little bit of damage, that it's gonna stop the balloon, but he will end up taking one hit, and the death damage will be enough by the One Punch
Lightning
Man.
again.
Lightning again. And the
Fireball
Royal
Force.
Pain on the right side turret, right side lane, trying to do a lot of damage. He will just connect against the Tombstone, one hit against the turret, and we will go to the sudden death in this moment. Another Royal Pain, and Hermes wants to seal the deal on this right side lane.
He wants to do so. He's being really aggressive. It's not enough yet. It's pretty much the same amount of health on both the King Tower and the Princess
Ooh,
Tower
this
on the
is
right side.
tough.
But this is going to be a really, really close match. Malex, we are going to see the next balloon coming in into the field. The Electro Wizard is there, but is it going to be enough? Probably not. The Lightning is there. The death damage is going to be coming in. And 3 matches in a row. The Lava Balloon is going to bring the win for One Punch Man.
And actually, it was two. I think it was two crowns and a 3 crown win. It was amazing deck for
Yep.
Lightning for One Punch Man from the Shanghai Yao.
Funny thing, he actually changed that archetype the 3 times.
Yeah, basically.
It never was the same deck, and he actually always had a different a card
no.
or a response for their
I
opponents.
think the last 2 were the same.
No, because he had cards.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a
you're
card
right.
that we didn't have.
Yeah, you're
before.
right. You're right.
So
It was
he-
the same win
he made-
condition at least.
Yeah, it was the same win condition, but he made these little changes that were also significant enough to be able to pull out the win and to counter their opponents, because cards actually got a lot of value against the Royal Giant. They generated a lot of damage. They were able to kind of counter the Fisherman too, because they weren't the units that you would like the Fisherman to pull. And at the end, these little changes actually made it harder for them to counter this deck.
It made a big difference actually.
Yep.
So we will see how they end up doing. We're going for the first third point
Yep.
of these quarterfinals. We'll go to the head-to-head, to the
first
one-on-one.
1v1?
Yeah, the first 1v1. And I really expect One Punch Man to play it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another player, a better player for
but
Shanghai
here's
University.
the thing.
I don't know.
NTU probably is expecting a Lava Balloon if One Punch Man is the one who's
That's
gonna be
true.
playing this. But the problem is, you don't know which Lava Balloon is gonna be coming in. Is it gonna be the Tombstone? Is it gonna be the cards? Is it gonna be like more of an aerial push? You don't really know what kind of Lava Balloon you're gonna be seeing, or how
Maybe
is it
even
gonna
have
be.
another type of,
Yeah.
of that. You
Or
know?
maybe we might not even see One Punch Man play this 1v1.
Maybe like literally anything can happen in this
Yep.
1v1, but I expect both teams to basically pick their best player, pick their best chance, and
Yep.
like just go for it. Like just try to win with this guy, because it's basically
Yep.
their last chance, their last life in these quarterfinals, and both of these teams want to move on to the semifinals against the Tecnológico de Monterrey Campus Monterrey. Entonces, we will see how they end up doing in this precise moment. Like,
Yep.
actually, both squads will be wanting to move on, and now they have to prove it. Like,
Now-
this is the moment.
There's an important thing here. Light has 5 different players, and
Ah.
One Punch Man has already beaten 3 of them. So,
No, Light has One Punch Man is from Light.
yeah,
Team NTU
yeah. So let's start this over again. Team NTU
has 5.
has 4
Ah, just
players,
4
actually,
players.
just 4
Oh.
players. So he already beat 75% of the players. He already beat 75%, three-quarters of
Oh,
what the team is composed of.
the problem is that if they didn't use this guy for the King of the Hill, this fourth guy, he may not be the best for the 1v1.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know.
Because we didn't even get to see the rest of the participants of the King on the Hill on part of the Shanghai, and they might as well have a better player there for the 1v1s waiting off, and they even a more versatile player and
that can adapt more
between the series. That is correct, and they might as well be saving it for the 1v1 duels.
Yeah, it will actually be really interesting to see, and we'll be going to the first match of this 1v1.
The first in the day,
these
actually.
matches. Yeah, it's actually the first of the day, and we'll be seeing Team NTU on the top side, Light on the bottom side, and actually they are two completely different players. Darwin Pro, we haven't seen him. I think we saw him in the 2v2, if I'm not wrong, but as 570, I think that is. I don't know if that's an S or that's a 5, but 570,
yeah,
that's going to be the player for Team NTU. And some Sappies, that is going to be a split push with Roy. Oh, no, it's a Royal Pain.
This is going to be really interesting. Fortunately, there is a mini P.E.K.K.A here. It's going to be able to keep a lot of damage from coming in. Three hits were done on the right side. Boulder is going to come in the left side. It's going to connect one. It's going to connect twice on this left side tower.
Okay,
and the mini P.E.K.K.A is going to try to win some time. Is it going to connect? Ooh, close. The snowball was not enough for it to be able to hit
a
giant.
What? A giant Boulder graveyard? That's a really strange...
but it's a heavy deck, really heavy deck.
Yeah, it's a really heavy deck and a really costful deck. Like it's really expensive. So we'll see how it ends up being using. But 570 also has an expensive deck. He's going Earthquake with Royal Pain.
He has Hunter, he has Fisherman, he has Sappies.
Yeah,
these are really good answers against the Giant. Maybe kind of good against the
Ooh,
Barber.
a Giant Skeleton.
Probably the biggest problem will be the Graveyard, but now we're going to see Giant Skeleton. And this is really awkward, at least for our region. This is something that we do not tend to see a lot. At least Giant Bowler is a little bit more common, but the Giant Skeleton with the Royal Pain is not that common. And so far, we haven't seen that Giant Skeleton connect into the tower yet. But the match is really close so far.
Yeah, and actually 570 is the guy from Light, and Team NTU is Darwin Pro. So we're gonna see that little change. We see the Royal Pain used on the right side turret, doing a little bit of damage right now. But that left side turret for Team Light is actually really low. The Boulder is gonna just be dragged around by that Fisherman, and this Giant is gonna do everything left. That turret, 2 HP left, and that will be just more than enough.
15 seconds. 15 seconds is what is left for Darwin Pro to actually try to get that left side tower, and it's probably not going to be enough. There is a Hunter. It actually made a lot of damage. Only 5 seconds left. Nothing else to be done on part of Darwin Pro but to lose this first match in the 1v1.
Yeah, actually,
really tough.
Lightning was 570. It's a 570 was the representative of the Light team, the Shanghai Yaotong University. So we will see them taking on this first match, this first point. So they just need one more win, and it's actually really interesting that they didn't play One Punch Man. I mean, like that King of the Hill was scary.
It was actually, but here's the thing: you as NTU, you probably know if One Punch Man comes in, he's probably gonna play Lava Balloon, and if you do not play something to counter the Lava Balloon after that King of the Hill, you probably have something going on in your head if you not try to counter that. So probably for Shanghai, the best idea was let's bring someone new, someone that hasn't actually played in this series, and he can actually bring something new. He can bring something fresh and new ideas, new decks, new archetypes that can actually mess up with what NTU is trying to do.
And I think they did. It was basically a Royal Pain with Giant Skeleton and
Sappies.
It was really interesting.
Fisherman was really good, actually.
Fisherman was amazing. amazing against the boulder.
Yep.
Like it did everything
And
against
against
that
the
boulder,
giant.
and the giant, like
Yep.
it really full counter. Like I mean,
Yep.
really, Fisherman is like the best card in my opinion for these types of archetypes of like structure based pushes. So we'll see how they adapt for this second match.
Yep.
Like what 570 will bring onto the table.
Yep.
If he's going to repeat this first deck, or if he's gonna do something completely different,
Yep.
maybe even a different archetype. I don't know. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and also remember we're gonna be having a ban for one of the cards,
Oh, yeah.
and this is gonna be really important. Maybe he,
Yeah, that global ban.
maybe Darwin wants to go out with the real pain. He wants to bring down the
Royal Giant.
the Royal Giant correctly, and maybe that would be the idea. Maybe he wants to ban something that might counter what he's gonna try to bring into the second
Okay.
match. It could be something that changes what is going to happen or what is gonna be the result for this second match in the 1v1. Because remember, this is match point right now for Shanghai. Light is 1 point away from getting this series from NTU and getting into the semifinals.
Yeah, getting to the semifinals against El Tecnológico de Monterrey, Campus Monterrey. So we will see how they end up facing each other, how they end up doing, and we'll see what is possibly the last match between these guys. Light on the top side with 570 and Team NTU on the bottom side with Darwin Pro. And we already see a golem by Nanyang Technological University with a Goblin Cage. Oh, now we have the split push with the Royal Hawks, with the Sappies, with the Royal Recruits. Now we're gonna see them. And what we thought we would see in the last match, and let's see how it ends up facing.
And this is actually really good against the Golem because the Barbarian Hunt is gonna probably try to stop the Golem, and the Royal Hawks, the Royal Recruits are not gonna be easy to defend with the Golem.
And actually, it's really interesting because, I mean, Darwin Pro has that liney, has the Tornado, but against the split push, that's really not as efficient as other cards.
Lightning is not going to
really
be effective
different.
against the Recruits.
No.
It might get useful against the Pigs, the Hawks, and maybe even the Barbarian Hut to actually be able to destroy that building before it can generate a lot of value. But it's 6 elixir investment just to destroy one building.
Yeah, it's basically like Darwin Pro would just play like to defend, you know? Like he wouldn't even have elixir enough to attack, to do like a counter push. So it would be really tough for him. Now let's see how it ends up developing, because at least in this precise moment, Darwin Pro has the health advantage.
Imagine what is going to happen when he places the Golem in the field.
He's not gonna have elixir.
570, he's just gonna pull out the Royal Hawks and make a split push on the other lane
just
where
push.
the Golem
Just
comes
push,
out. And pretty much Darwin
Flying
wouldn't
Machine.
have enough elixir to respond to that.
That may be the case just right here, because we have the split push, we have the Raw Hogs right on the right side lane. It's gonna be stopped by the Barbarian, but anyhow, they're gonna have a lot of damage. Ooh, that was a nice tornado, especially because it activated the King's Tower. So we're gonna see that now being a defense for Team NTU. But let's see if that's enough.
We're on the double X elixir right now. We only have 35 seconds left of the regular time, and now the double elixir might as well be the opportunity for Darwin Pro to actually place a Golem into the field and bring some kind of damage, some kind of opportunity to actually make some damage into the towers.
Yeah, it's actually like his moment to take advantage of what he's proposing, of his Vex style. So we'll see what ends up happening. We will see that Flying Machine gonna be used up. The Fireball Bolt, the Golems, they're gonna do a little bit of damage with the Golemite, and in the right side, the Tornado will be just enough. Both the little Golems are just gonna do a little bit of damage on that left side turret. The Royal Hogs, the Royal Bacon coming in on the right side lane, and they're gonna be toasted by the Baby Dragon without any problem.
any problem right now. 906 on that right side tower. This might as well be the one. This might as well be the match where Shanghai Jiaotong
30
University actually gets the win. You remember, this is match point. It's 570 against Darwin Pro, and Darwin Pro is in a lot of trouble right now. He has no answer to the split push. He has no answer to the Royal Hawks. Here is a tornado, but that is probably not
really
enough.
like
Barbar to gain a little bit of time. 391 health on the right side tower.
But now we see the Golem on the left side on the left side lane.
But there is
that
a
it's going to stop him,
hut.
but the Zappies are just stopping him on his drags. Amazing lightning. And the Royal Recruits will come in to try and stop it. They will have the Golden Mites that will be doing a little bit of chip damage, but that won't be enough. Now we're basically like 2 cycles away of just Fireball that will be going in favor of 570. He has the Fireball in his hands. He still has the Royal Hogs, and he will use the Fireball right now. And the Royal Hogs are going to connect. No, they're going to be stopped. But either way, he's just, I think, 2 cycles away of Fireballs.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just double fireballs. Maybe just even one right now. He's just going to throw it out, and this is probably going to be the win. That is Light coming up with the reverse sweep in this series right now. 570 is going to be the winner right now. One Punch Man is probably going to be the hero today, along with 570. And with this, we have all our semi-finalists.
Yeah, we basically have all of our semi-finalists. We see Light from Shanghai Jiaotong University going through to the semi-finals. They're going to be facing against the Tecnológico de Monterrey Campus Monterrey. And in the other side, we have the Tecnológico Monterrey Campus Guadalajara facing up against the STGU Team 2, if I'm not wrong, from the other representative of the Shanghai University. So,
interestingly enough, we have double Borregos, double Shanghai, and both facing each other. So
I mean, they both have 3 representatives out of the 8. So it was like mathematically really possible.
Yeah, it was. If you think about the possibilities, it was really, really possible that both of these teams were facing each other, at least in the semifinals. It is the situation that we are going to be having, and we might as well see a final between Borregos and Shanghai, and that could be actually really, really interesting. Or we could see Shanghai versus Shanghai,
or Borregos
versus Borregos.
It's actually really interesting that the other 2 universities that were participating, UC Davis and the Nanyang, if I'm not wrong, University, the Nanyang Technological University, they both end up dropping from the race. They end up falling short in the quarterfinals. But they actually really have, especially NTU, had an amazing run. They were really, well. They took the 2v2. I would say they were really close, but let's be honest, the King of the Hill and the 1v1 were just like demolished by Shanghai.
Yeah, it was really rough to see these teams to actually be beaten like that after winning so decisively the 2v2.
Yeah,
and
it was really good.
It hurts a little bit to see this kind of things happen, but it also happens when you have this kind of adaptability within your players, and when maybe one mode of play style is not just your best, it's just not your what you are wanting to play. And right now, the King of the Hill and the 1v1 was what Shanghai was best at, and it showed.
Yeah, and we basically, we already have our 2 semifinalists that we'll be seeing tomorrow. So we'll see how they end up facing each other. Actually, tomorrow's format is basically today's. It's the same as today, except for the final that we have a best of 5. But we'll explain that. We'll explain that tomorrow. But
detail.
Anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for all the team. Thank all the teams for participating. They were amazing. For the 4 universities that ended up participating were incredible. We are just left with 2 in the next phase.
4.
Yeah.
Four teams.
4 teams, 2 universities.
2 universities.
So we'll see how they end up facing tomorrow night. But any further words?
Well, nothing else to add but to congratulate the 4 teams that have passed into the semifinals, and thank all the other teams that have participated in this Borregos Esports Invitational Cup, the first one that we are having right now. We'll probably have a lot more to come. and we invite you to keep participating in it, keep going on and practicing to get better and actually be able to even get revenge against these two universities that are already in the semifinals and that have been performing really, really well. With that said, we are going to be seeing you tomorrow at the same time just to get into the semifinals and also the big grand final. So you don't want to miss that tomorrow. We're going to be having some really interesting matches against these between these two universities, and we're going to be seeing you there.
Yeah, we'll have amazing matches. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.